giving bulls the upper hand to actually go up. You can see the last reaction. Let's just focus on the moving averages aside from this meme line and this meme line. And you can just see as long as we held above those moving averages, obviously we can come down and test, but those tests often form bullish structure before breaking out. So bulls are really going to be trying to defend this zone today, specifically 106K. It's nice how that lines up. 106K is a very important spot. That just remains, that has to hold, in my opinion. And if we do continue to hold the 12-hour EMA 9, this is good. It has implications for the daily 9. For me to really feel comfortable calling a bottom on this EMA 34 in the daily, and look how many times we've hit it, 1, 2, 3, almost 4 times now. What you're noticing on each one of these dumps on the daily is each wick low is becoming less and less. That's just the small signs of bullish structure for me. We got to see this daily 9 get reclaimed now. No reason to be having FOMO on Bitcoin longs as long as you haven't reclaimed the daily 9. Because what we've seen is once that daily 9 gets reclaimed, it's an easy trade. You just long the daily 9, have your stop at the last potential higher low and wait for the breakout move. And so for here is if we can really reclaim the daily 9 while also getting back above 106K, now we can finally start formulating a long idea based on more confidence, which is that daily 9. In trending markets, it's very important to be gauging the daily 9. Often it does just give you easy trades when you are trending and you're going up. BBWP on the daily is resetting. This is significant because when we were going down, I was looking at this volatility breakdown and potentially a volatility expansion. But remember, it's all dependent on the 34, and it's nice how this works because this is often the last extremity spot. How I gauge the moving averages, it's the 9, the 21, the 34 is the extremity spot. You got to see that hold or you're going to have a range breakdown. The range breakdown often leads to the daily EMA 100. That's still a significant spot for Bitcoin moving forward, but as long as you're above the EMA 34 and 1031, the idea of breaking down it is a lot harder for bears because you have to front run a lot of stuff, which would mean you have to front run the closure of here and also even losing 1031 on a lower time frame even. So for now, Bitcoin's looking good, but I just need to start seeing the zone hold. I'm not really what I don't want is to get super bullish on this move. We long, and this just leads to the trap. Because we've seen this before. We reclaim the daily 9, and then we just dump. And then we reclaim it, and then we dump. And then we stay under it, and then we bigly dump. So that's why it has to really be convincing for us, which would mean that it has to just do this today, get the closure. And what would this look like on the lower time frames? If you are trying to be a trader today and trade this, how can we really gauge if this is going to move up or down? Well, it's easy. The 4-hour has a really nice visual currently. We were under the 4-hour EMA 100 for a while. You can see it's similar to here. When we were under it, breaking down from it, reclaimed it, we held it, led to the expansion move. Now here what you see is, this is solid resistance. Bulls are actually praying for a pullback here. They need to get this back tested. Then this will really start looking like it has the momentum to put in bullish structure, while then also back testing the EMA 100, flipping that into support similar to here before busting up. You also notice that the moving averages are clustered, while also we have a BBWP setup. And during the environment, we have a war happening or just a lot of Middle Eastern tension occurring, at least in my experience, which is not a lot, but the few years I've been here in this world, war dumps often do get bought up, and they can mark a local bottom. Now, what you're having on CT is a lot of people saying, well, this time is different. This war is different. They're attacking things that they haven't done before. But that's also a trader and investor's worst thing to say is this time's different. And you can backtest it from World War II up until current times. Generally speaking, major wars or conflicts do mark some kind of bottom. That's why I've been saying that here. We want to just be really cautious of that 1031. Because not only do we have 1031, we have the 12-hour EMA 100. This was something I was watching on this dump down. We front ran it here. But then if you really focus on the other time frames, you're like, well, yeah, and then the 8-hour EMA 100 never got lost. And this was actually quite bullish to me. We were hoping for a breakdown, but I really haven't given any trades, since we closed the shorts on this move down to here. And that's just because like we could have broken down here, but we also could bounce. It's just more 50-50. Plus a weekend makes it, kind of loose. But with this view and the lower time frames, I mean, it's really hard to argue a dump at this point unless you're going to just argue that this is just a major trap. Why I'm not convinced though is because each time we're coming down, we're putting in bullish structure. It's always the little detail in the chart for me, and this is good. So as long as we're above 106K today, this will have an objective of possibly going up to that 108.6. But really, the objective for me is 109.3. I hold more weight on that 109.3 than this. But it is still there, and it worked. It worked on the breakdown. It worked here. So that would be, the objective right around this zone here. It's like 108.5 to 108.6, as long as you're holding above 106. Nice. And then even the hourly, if you're noticing, like he broke out. Yeah, the move down has just trickled down to potentially another higher low while also retesting the 2 hourly EMA 9. 2-hour 9 tested. So, I mean, Bitcoin's looking bullish to that. I was debating on giving a long out on this throwback of the 4-hour EMA 100. So we'll just have to see really what occurs. For now, though, this 4 hours looking bullish. We have a breakout. This is possibly a bull flag. For me, next objective is at 108.5. And we just got to keep seeing 106 hold. Any move down to 106K is going to be an opportunity for bulls. They're going to be looking at this to occur. If you start losing 106 on like a 4 hour, getting back under the 4 hour EMA 100, this will have implications for me that the 12-hour EMA 9, essentially, the easy long trigger, this isn't going to hold. But for now, it is holding. We are bullish, and even the 4 hour is giving us a nice BBWP setup. So we just want to be aware of that. Like over the weekend, I wanted a rejection, and it was logical, but what you're noticing is, again, bulls just defending the lows. And again, we still are watching 103.1. But it's just kind of like a range. It's like 103.1's the capitulation zone. You lose that, and that's just based on the EMA 34. Then you really can have a move down to the EMA 100. But until then, it looks like you swiped 103.1, and you've been consolidating off 104.4. That's my second zone. Because really, I'm looking at this range here. So like this is important to gauge. But now what we're having is a flip. So 104.4 is now being support. So in summary, again, no FOMO today. You either then could just wait to see if the daily 9 gets reclaimed and then just keep continuing to play the 12-hour EMA 9. But as long as the chart's going to look like this is looking bullish to me now. Support continues to hold. The 12-hour EMA 9 continues to grind up closer to that 103.1 spot, more solidifying this zone being support. The 4-hour EMA 100 also is a big spot. This has to hold for bulls to see upside continuation, and so far it is holding. So as long as that's going to hold, I really don't see why now at this point we're not going to see at least 108.6 today. But remember, we just want to wait and watch the daily. That'll really guide us. And then now when we view the HPDR on the 12-hour, what you're noticing is we've reclaimed the median. Next objective is that 108.5, so good confluence of this idea. And if you break this zone, well, now if you want to be like a memer, you're breaking back within this channel. This then can take you up to that 110,300 to 109.3. That's a big zone. This is a major zone. I mean, it just makes sense. It's right where the almost all-time high was. This is a big, big range for Bitcoin. You don't want it to reject and come back to the range lows, solidifying the big range. Very well could happen. Bulls are really wanting this bottom node to just grind out, sideline everyone, and break out, in my opinion. That's kind of what they need, and that's what they want. But a range is still being definitely tradable. So, I mean, this is potentially a 5% range. And then let's see the daily here. The chair is so loud. Even the daily HPDR is bearish, but what we want to really, and that's why today is a wait and watch mode for the daily if you do trade the daily. And that's really based on the daily 9. It makes sense that the HPDR is bearish posturing because we are under the daily 9 still. But that's why if we do get back above the daily 9, gauging the ranges of the HBR will be really key for me to give me more confidence and confidence of a trade idea. Because what you could have is, yes, we get that move up to that 1085 region, but then this just becomes a daily bearish retest. This rolls over, and then, yeah, the 4-hour EMA 100 gets lost. That's why for me now, it's just going to be really important to be gauging these ranges. 106K, though, just has to hold. I'll just keep continuing to say that now, specifically when you got the higher time frame closures. So that's Bitcoin. 4-hour BBWP will guide bulls up to that 1085. That's the big test. You're either going to roll over there bigly, or this is an actual breakout move. This has solidified a bottom, and you'll get confirmation of that when the daily EMA 9 gets reclaimed. So that's Bitcoin. Bullish, looking good. Monday, so it's early still in the week, but it's looking good. I mean, and I hope, unlike the lower time frames, we all can see that. Like, it is just looking good. But that obviously can be sold down, and that's why we have our levels. I know we're talking about the daily and the 12-hour, and that's why it's easy for me when I gauge the daily and the 12-hour to just watch the 4-hour too, because you need the 4-hour to be bullish if then the 8 and 12 and daily are going to close bullish. So bulls are really looking for this to be a throwback. You're really going to just be gauging your stop here at 105 and a potential long here. And if that holds, great. If you start losing this 4-hour EMA 100, everything I just said is thrown out the window, and you have to be a lot more cautious of this just being potentially a bearish retest. Even on the meme lines, I mean, broke down, you should be gauging some kind of move up to here anyways. The hopium knows that trend is starting to shift up. The only way to confirm that is breaking this high at 110,500. So that's Bitcoin. We can look at Tether dominance now. Tether dominance is at support. 4.69 remains the spot. We've talked about this a lot. The daily EMA 100 continues to reject on Tether dominance. Into Friday, we were talking about this spot. Bulls needed this to get reclaimed, or this was then going to turn into a price divergence and a rejection. So far, that's what we've got. So this now is not looking the best. Potentially, it's not really a head and shoulders because this wick invalidated it, but not the cleanest. I mean, you could argue, but really not the cleanest. Rather so, you're just losing all the major moving averages today, possibly going to then flip this daily 9 into resistance. 4.69 does remain support. So we are now at support on Tether dominance, but I mean, with BBWP this low, let's check the HBDR. Yeah, so with us potentially losing that 38.2%, this kind of dwindles the bears idea of a breakout here, and more so you can get that move down to at minimum 4.56%. And then if you do test that daily meet, like if you break down here, the hopium is just that this is going to hold. You're not going to take out this low, but then this easily could just reject 4.69%. So and I've talked about that too. 4.69% is a big spot for Tether dominance. You're going to need that to hold, specifically on dailies. When you just lose 4.69 on a daily, it just becomes kind of bad for Tether dominant bulls. Really good for Bitcoin, though. And you can just see that. We just end up rejecting it and breaking down. This channel has moved up. You're now at support. You're at the top of the 38.2%, and you're at the 4.69%, telling me that probably a big move is going to occur here. You're either going to hold and break out and move up and try to reclaim the daily EMA 9, EMA 100, my apologies. And remember, that's a big spot. You reclaim the daily EMA 100 on Tether dominance, you can be more aggressive on shorts. We talked about that on Friday. But if you're going to be rejecting down, you have to then be really understanding that this now can start really rejecting hard at its current spot, leading to that 1093 to 1085 move on Bitcoin minimum. If you break the all-time high on Bitcoin, that's when 114 comes into play. For me, 114 still looks appealing. If we can really get back above 1093, hold it, and specifically break this high, 114 is going to be just an easy move with BBWP reset on the 2-day. Once this fires off, this will be a very fast move, in my opinion, up or down. You can see the ranges here nicely. It's like you're either going to lose 1031, and then this is just going to start breaking down with 2-day BBWP reset, or you really get back above that 1093, take this high out. Next move will be 114. It really will start on Tether dominance though. And 4.69 has to get lost now. Even on the 2-day, you see the medians there. 2-day 9s at 4.71. And you have the meme line at 4.69. This is a big zone. This is a really big zone. Bulls are wanting this to hold and then move up, leading to just a throwback, while then this was just a bearish retest on Bitcoin. Gosh, it's so annoying when that does that. Per the HBDR view, I mean, of course. Well, you know, bears are really just looking for this to break down today. Close under 4.69% and then straight to business all the way down to minimum 4.5. Next objective for me will be 4% though.
Nice. Hang on a second, Alex. I'm just going to put myself and you two on screen, and you two, Farns, if you can stop coughing for a second there. I know you have the black lung ones. Just because I shared this on my English channel, right? So there's people going like, oh, someone stole Alejandro's channel. No, I'm sorry, guys. I had diarrhea because it's the weekend. So you have to try that spicy chicken sandwich that I shouldn't eat any other day of the week. So
is it the one from Chick-fil-A?
No, of course not. No. That's insane. I would die if I had that. No, I would die. It's no. It's not a popular brand or anything. So it's more of it's a less it's the same shit. I'm not gonna lie, it's just probably less worse, if you will. But gets it done. So I just wanted to let you guys know we're here. You motherfuckers want to trade? This is absolutely free. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Completely gratis.
Absolutely gratis. But those motherfuckers don't understand Spanish. This is English for those guys. Either way. Sorry, Alex.
No, all good. Yeah, no, great point. All free, good alpha here, in my opinion. Because we're really just like watching levels, and I like markets because it's always telling a story. If you stay up to date with it and keep watching, I mean, this 4.69%, we're talking about it here when we were rejecting. Now we're back at it. So like this spot, and not to chop, obviously in this region, but bulls are really going to need this zone to hold. And if they don't, it's then going to just start looking like this might be a lower high. Confirmed once you get that lower low break. It's very similar to Bitcoin, where we potentially could be grinding out a uptrend. It's just unconfirmed until you break this high. So we can then just use the little details on the lower time frame, the 12-hour, the 4-hour, to dissect. So then let's check the 4-hour on Tether dominance. Probably looks the same, but you're getting that EMA 100 rejection. Let's see. Yeah, so now this is interesting because you're looking at this spot as a bull to hold, and then for this EMA 100 to actually get reclaimed. This reclaim happened, so you're looking at this to just be a sweep of the lows before waking up and holding. This is significant because with BBWP reset and firing off, this does have implications with maybe a move down to that 106K. While we're potentially going up, you're finding somewhat of a resistance here. So for me, it's like really, if you're not positioned yet, you're just waiting on 106. I'll keep saying that. That's a big spot. But Tether dominance, you should be gauging this 4-hour because this could really hold the throwback here. Get back above the EMA 100, make your move up to here. But then even per the HBDR, this would say, yeah, 4.79, it's just a bearish retest. You might front run it just based on that 21. Chart's still bearish though. But this gives me slight confidence if you were like scaling longs here to maybe reevaluate because this is a reclaim. This could mean that we're about to go up. And then this means we're about to get our pullback. So yeah, I'm glad we just saw that there, just in case people were long, because I just saw Bitcoin did go green, but that's actually very important to see. So it's like if you are going to be aggressive long and you're just waiting for this to actually get lost again, then you can aggressively long Bitcoin based on the 4-hour chart. But until then, you got to be more cautious now. This busting up and testing 4.76, giving us that 106K pullback. Let's check Bitcoin dominance real fast.
Yeah, let's see that dominant bitch.
Yeah.
By the way, instantly, as soon as I posted this on my English channel, they're like, nah, this video is flagged for stuff that is not eligible for monetization. So we're off to a great start, boys. Off to a great fucking start.
Really is free.
Yeah. Google has always been known to be the most homosexual company of them all.
I would never say that about him, even if they made me lie about every COVID to all of my audience members. But I would never say anything bad about Google other than that.
Well, it's not Google anymore now. It's called Alphabet.
So nice, so nice. These guys.
So you on to Bitcoin dominance. This looks like a sweep of the lows. We talked about this maybe being a trend shift. It just had a lower high at the daily 9, did not. You then broke this high, so this isn't an uptrend, and this is going to be trying to solidify a higher low either at the 21. You break down, you're going to then test the 34. Why would you not be concerned if you test the 34? Well, this was just a reclaim, so then you would be looking at that throwback. And I know that seems redundant, but that's just how crypto is. You know, often people get excited around here when, you know, the patient traders are looking at this and saying, well, you know, history has shown that this easily can throw back before going up. So let's just be patient. For me, though, now you're gauging the 21 to hold. It's either going to hold and you're going to move up, getting back above the daily 9. Getting back above the daily 9 has implications of testing 64.65% again. Got to get back above there to enter into this range, right? Because remember, we're using this wick high. It was looking good when we reclaimed it on Friday. We moved up, rejected, came down. We're losing it today. So you just have to understand that we are in an uptrend, but until we actually break this 64.9% essentially, we're just going to be within a range. Support, if you get back above this wick high, support will be 64.6%. Resistance will be 64.9%. Very tight range. Until then, though, bears are going to be trying to break this down. And then once this does lose the 34, bears are going to be looking at this to move all the way back up, test this lower high, and then break the lows. That's going to be kind of the objective for bears. But until then, bulls are going to be grinding out a bottom here because trend is up. We broke the highs, higher low. I mean, just trend waves show that.
I can almost hear Ben Cowan jizzing from his house all the way to here. Looking at this dominance.
Bitcoin dominance! Oh my god, Bitcoin dominance!
The dominance of Bitcoin is
Oh my god, I'm a better boss!
That's so funny. I tell, yeah. Your poor ears.
the cryptoverse.
Hey, Mr. Cowan, can you please unblock me on Twitter?
Now, the reason why I won't is because I do sound like a Muppet when I make this voice.
Not really Ben Cowan, but hey, it's pretty close in my view.
Yeah. Now this is interesting. So you had a 2-day evening star. You have follow through. Similar to the daily, you're at the 21 on the daily. You're at the 2-day 9. But what do you see here? Well, you do see that you're still finding some kind of confluence of lower, possibly 64.2, and that's right around that 34, which would then test that throwback. I mean, this would be the throwback after the breakout. And you would also then be holding the extremity lows because what you're noticing is, well, Bitcoin dominance likes to test the 34. Now, it likes to wick under it, of course. Just be mindful of that. But it does like the bottom on the 34. So, with what I'm gauging, if Bitcoin does give us a move down, we then can interpret this as that move down to 106 might then test the 34 on Bitcoin dominance, leading to an easy spot where we kind of know markets as a whole, where Tether dominance, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin dominance are all the big spot once we actually reach that 106K region. So really still bullish on Bitcoin dominance, though. Nothing to be bearish about. And BBWP is reset.
There's no way Raul Pauly's wrong about alt season yet again for the 20th time. There's no way. What are you saying, Alex? What are you saying?
Yeah, maybe not. Well, we'll just have to see, I guess. But when I see candles like this, does this look like weakness? It looks, yes, like you're baiting shorts. Mm-hmm. And what this is doing is baiting people into altcoins, because this just reminds me of what happens when Bitcoin breaks out. It's like all the shorts here are short, and then you get that move down. Oh, I'm up. Nope. Oh, I'm up. Nope. Oh, I'm up. Nope. And then one of these days, this is just going to spring up and break out. That's why it's really important to lose that 63.8%. Specifically, it's 63.88%. That's right around the 38.2%. So that's good confluence on this weekly view that, yeah, you start losing this, well, then break down. Next objective for me will be the 62.8 to 62.56. But until then, this easily could just hit the weekly 9. and then move up. Hopium knows that that median is going to reject, and so far it is, and that would then take you down to 63.89%, which again gives you more confidence of maybe a little lower on Bitcoin dominance. We did say a wick's under the 34, so maybe then that wick does take you down to test the meme line one more time. Not taking out this low though. June 11th low is the line in the sand. There's no reason why this should get taken out, in my opinion. Any move down to here though is fine, as long as you're not taking out this low. It's all good. So that's Bitcoin, that's crypto. Dixie continues to go down. I'll just mention that we had that weekly breakdown. So this has implications to go all the way to like 93 to 95. But again, we're just hitting potentially a major zone here. This potentially has implications on risk. We don't really have too much balance left, but if dollar does go down, this should be good for risk on. So then euro should do well. If we go and view the euro on the weekly,
I'm going to ask you to do the euro right after. So,
oh, okay, then I'll just wait on that. But Dixie, it's good to gauge because if Dixie is bearish, generally you should see risk doing better. So that's kind of where I'll end off there. 106K is the spot. If you get a pullback there, that should be a gift. Should be no reason why the 12-hour EMA 9 gets lost anymore.
Let's get that motherfucking money.
Yes.
Hang on. Farhan just needs a little break. He's adjusting his throat nicely. 1 second. There you go. Not with anything gay, though.
No,
I want to make sure people know.
It's definitely not anything gay.
There you go. We just need to establish this in here.
Yeah, we had to. We had to make sure that was clear. All right, so I'm gonna start with the 2-day on Bitcoin. We have right now momentum right at the reset zone, just about to flip back up, getting over the moving average, but volatility is now sitting at 1.8%, and we have a fresh buy signal on the jewel as well. And we're getting over the median. Right now, the median sitting at $106,529. If we get this close over the median, that's going to give us basically a free move to this top 38.2%, which right now sits at basically all-time highs at about $111,600. If you look at volatility sitting at about 1.8%, that tells us we're going to likely go a lot higher than that 38.2%. What we're probably going to go to is around the 61.8% like we did last time. 61.8% right now sits at about $116,000. Somewhere between the 50% and the 61.8% is what's going to be our target. That gets us a target between about $113,000 and $116,000. What's right in between that area? That $114,000 number that Alex had mentioned. Very nice, very, very nice area. Now we will switch to the 5-day and go to the index. Index right now has momentum currently pointed to the downside, but it is very close to the reset zone, very close to flipping back up, while volatility is now sitting at extreme lows. What we need to do is get a closure over this median, and that will take us to new all-time highs. And right now the median sits right at our meme line at about $109,000-ish. And the 38.2% above there is sitting at about $124,000.
All right, you still don't sound like Kathy Wood. We're all good. Continue, sir.
It's going to take quite a bit before I get into Kathy Wood mode. And 5-day, I believe, 5-day does have possible hidden bullish divergence currently because we went below all of these lows on momentum, but price is making a higher low. And to confirm it, we'd have to close above $110,378. Weekly also has possible hidden bullish divergence. Weekly is a little bit easier to confirm. And weekly will confirm with a close over, actually it's the same number, 110,617. And if you can get a close over there, that will confirm your hidden bullish divergence, and that'll take you up to basically $120,000. The weekly on the jewel is currently on the neutral signal, but it has not flipped to a sell signal just yet. And we are still above the median on the weekly. The median is currently sitting at about $101,460. So as long as we are above the median, probabilities are higher than not that we're going to go to this 38.2%. 2-week is also leaning quite bullish. We have a bounce perfectly off of our median right now, and the 2-week is still holding over the 5 EMA, as well as the weekly is also holding over the 5 EMA. And as long as you're holding the 5 EMA, the trend is still to the upside. And 2-week is now flipping up on momentum, getting over the reset zone, while volatility is still sitting at extreme lows, and the jewel's giving you hidden bullish divergence with a buy signal, making it odds higher than not that you're going to go to this 38.2%, which is currently at about $130,000. Monthly is now getting back over the 38.2%, while momentum is currently pointed to the downside. If you get a close anywhere over about 104,653, this momentum is likely going to flip back up, or you get any tick above 111,965. Right now, momentum is going lower than all of these levels here, while price is putting in a significantly higher low, giving you another drive of hidden bullish divergence on the monthly. And this will confirm with a close over 111,965. That will give you a minimum target of hitting the median, which right now is at about 151. The monthly is currently losing the sell signal on the jewel and flipping to a neutral signal. Quarterly is now also over the median. The momentum flipped to the upside freshly. Last time we had momentum flipping to the upside on the quarterly was in July of 2023, and volatility on the quarterly is sitting at extreme lows. Closing over the median, it gives us a 61.8% chance of going to the top 38.2%, which is going to move. But right now it's sitting at about $194,000.
Kathy, calm the fuck down, Kathy.
But imagine what it moves to. Maybe it'll move to about 150. That'll line up
I'll
with
say
a monthly median.
That's a George target. That's not a Kathy target, unless it's
190?
like, yeah, completely like in the millions of dollars. It's not a Kathy number. Kathy's job is just to come up with the most ridiculous number and then just say a different year. So
is the Kathy Wood target more ridiculous than a Michael Saylor target? That's the question.
The thing is, I'll say this. The thing is, Kathy Wood is what Kathy Wood is to the market what Michael Saylor is to Bitcoin prices. How about that? How you
That's
like me point. Now?
Comes out at the local tops.
Yeah, because honestly, why is Michael Saylor talking about anything else other than Bitcoin? It's the greatest thing in the world, blah blah blah. But you know, if Kathy is just like, oh, Tesla's going to be $7 million in just local 7 months, yeah, you know, that's what she does. It's pretty good.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah,
and gets paid a lot more than Jim Cramer.
It's insane. God bless her. God bless her.
I wish I could do that.
Me too.
Now we will switch gears to the daily, and the daily is now putting in quite the girthy green dildo, and we are approaching resistance at the 38.2%, which right now is at about $108,000. And as long as we are below that resistance, we have to consider this bearish. But once you get above that resistance level at about $108,000, then probabilities are overwhelming that you're going to go to new all-time highs about $116,000, which lines up beautifully with our 61.8%. Right now, momentum on the daily is right at the bearish control zone, but we haven't quite entered it just yet. Volatility is currently expanding, and we are now putting in, I believe we have a higher low. Yeah, we do. We are putting in possible hidden bullish divergence, and it will confirm with any close over about 106,174, which we are about $1,000 above right now. That will give us a target of hitting basically our current all-time highs. 4 hours now flipping back to the upside on momentum with volatility supporting it. And now the 4 hour is about to give us an amazing jewel signal with the pink crossing above the yellow. And this is likely going to confirm almost certainly within this next open. And because right now they are touching tips. And that jewel signal, let's mark this with a vertical line and see what type of a move we usually get. We haven't seen the vertical lines in a minute. They're making a comeback. This is in the bearish control zone, so that doesn't count. This one works. Nope, that's in the bearish control zone. Right there is.
You can always do the shortcut with option and V as in vagina. It's so quick.
Oh, wait, what?
The shortcut for the vertical lines. It's just option on your keyboard plus V, the letter V as in vagina.
Yeah.
Try it.
Okay, the shortcut is
option V.
Option
at the same time.
V. Oh wow, that's amazing.
Look at me, huh? Look at me. And if you want to do a horizontal one, it's option H.
Wow, that's cool.
Look at me, huh? Saving you time.
Learning new things.
My mom said that I was going to be a loser and never accomplish anything. How about this, bitch?
Joke's on her. When I was young, I wanted to be a comedian, and everybody laughed. Well, no one's laughing now.
I've never heard that one before. That's pretty good. Oh my god.
All right, this will be the last one. How much of a move down did we get? Got a little bit of a move down, about 0.24%, not too bad. And then up
Disgusting.
about 2%. Only 2% move? Wow, that's pathetic. Let's see. Come on, there we go. This is a little bit more than 2%. That's about 4%. And it's a 4-hour setup.
Well, I was going to
4 hours
say,
setup.
yeah.
Move up about 2%. So what 2% is the low end move, 4% is the high end move.
So between $5,000 and $7,000 and $8,000.
1.27%. 3.4%. Closer to 4% on this one. This is not, to be honest, this is not a setup I would bother taking.
Yeah,
With these tiny little numbers. 2.39%.
What are these profits for ants?
Exactly. What are these moves for ants? How am I supposed to afford my Koenigsegg with this? 4.4%.
Am I supposed to afford my Koenigsegg with this in money laundering for the Chinese government and people? How am I going to do that? Sir, you don't need to do trading. Oh, that's right. Just the money laundering will do.
8.91%. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, but that's one.
I should just drop all of this trading stuff and go selling nuts door to door. If it works for Manny Koshbin, it's got to work for me.
He sold nuts. That's his.
Yeah, that's
his
what he
story.
says. He says he went door to door selling nuts.
Well, licking nuts. That's probably it's probably an error in translation. No, it's licking nuts or sucking nuts instead of selling nuts. I'm pretty sure it's just a translation mistake.
So the minimum move of 2% will take us basically to around that meme line of around $109,000, and then the higher end move with the medium move of 4% will take us to basically our current all-time highs, and then the high end move of 8% takes us to about $115,000 to $116,000. Very interesting area. But yes, very, very, very funny story. Purchased several multi-million-dollar cars and started out selling nuts.
That's pretty good. That's doable.
Very doable.
That is nuts. Let me tell you that. Sorry, everyone.
On the quarterly, we have many drives of bearish divergence currently on Tether, and we have a nice little head and shoulders, but this gives you a negative number. And the divergence is going to be active as long as you're closing below 5.85%. And your next target is the neutral zone, which is currently 3.58. Lines up beautifully with our monthly 100. And monthly currently has a drive of hidden bearish divergence, going to be active as long as you're below 6.24%. Your next target is the bearish control zone, which right now sits at about 3.17%, very close to our monthly 100. And we have that hidden bearish divergence with volatility at extreme lows. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. I believe there's nope. Nope. Oh, nice. 2 days about to put in another drive of hidden bearish divergence. That will be, let's zoom in on this, I believe 3 drives. Yep, 1, 2, 3. And it will confirm with any close below about 4.76%. And that will give you a target of the bearish control zone, which right now sits at about 4.02%. Nice round psychological figure. And volatility is now sitting at extreme lows at about 2%. Probably taking us a lot lower than the bearish control zone with that 2% volatility. That will probably be the critical zone, which is going to change, but right now it's at 1.95. Daily is about to put in a fresh drive of bearish divergence also on Tether, and it will confirm with any close below 4.77%, and that will give us a target minimum of the bearish control zone, which right now sits at 4.34, and the critical zone is at 3.11. This is the critical zone number is a lot more likely, sits next to the monthly 100. Nothing there. Now we'll switch back over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin still has 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence active. Still going to be active as long as you're closing above 76,702. Your next target is the critical zone, which right now sits at about $200,000. That's the quarterly 38.2%. Monthly has invalidated the bearish divergence and has now put in a drive of hidden bullish divergence on the RSI as well as the jewel and the stochastic. And we are now getting a confirmed volatility setup, where we will get to that in the momentum chart. And the target on that monthly hidden bullish divergence would be the critical zone, which right now is at about 160. Very close to that monthly median, about 10K above it. 2-week currently also has hidden bullish divergence with a volatility setup. And target on the divergence is going to be the bullish control zone, which right now sits at about 125. 6-day also has active hidden bullish divergence, which confirmed a couple of days ago. And this is going to be active as long as you're closing over about $100,400. And your next move is into the critical zone, which right now is at about 135. That one.
The 12-hour.
We're checking the 12-hour.
You should open the Pirate Trading Academy.
The 12-hour.
The 12-hour. We just make a reference with every time frame below the daily. Yeah, that's gonna be the only thing that'll make it a Pirate Academy.
Oh
my God. Oh.
Quarterly has momentum very strongly pointed to the downside on Tether, and it's going to be pointed down below 5.67%. But as long as you are closing over 2.23%, it is eventually going to confirm hidden bullish divergence, which will then be the end of our crypto market as we know it. And we're in for then about a year and a half of sideways and down. Monthly is currently flipped to the upside with volatility sitting at pretty low levels, not quite extreme lows just yet. But on this next projection, it's going to be opening right at the edge of the bearish control zone. At that point, likely this pivot goes up. 2-week is already flipped to the downside, same idea that we're looking for on the monthly. And we have a volatility set up right now with volatility sitting at 12%, while momentum is freshly flipped down and is going to be down below 5.6%. Weekly is also flipped to the downside with volatility expanding, and we will be flipped down below 4.6%. So if we close in about 6 days and 10 hours where we are now, momentum will flip back up, but it is likely based on momentum flipping down that we will, by the end of the week, go below this number. Weekly is currently flipped to the, 5 days currently flipped to the upside with volatility currently contracting, telling you it's likely going to be a lower high. And volatility is, momentum is pointed up about 4.47%. But what also goes along with the volatility contracting, telling you it's likely going to be a lower high, is that we have a nice little silver cross to the downside on the 5-day, which we have a perfect retest of now and a rejection. 2 days freshly flipping to the downside on momentum. That's pretty cool to see, with volatility giving you a setup just about ready to break down. And momentum is going down below 4.81%, and it's rejecting the bullish control zone. Nice little setup for a nuke with volatility sitting at extreme lows. Daily as well as, daily is actually flipped to the upside, and it's projected on this next open to be right at the edge of, on this next 2 opens to be at the edge of the bullish control zone. And at that point, it likely is going to flip down, and that's going to put in hidden bearish divergence. And volatility is currently expanding. 4 hours currently flipped to the downside on Tether, making it a lot more likely that local top is in at that 5-day silver cross to the downside. And 4 hours getting a nice breakdown with volatility expanding from many periods of 0%, and it's pointed down below 4.75%. the Bitcoin. Bitcoin is currently getting volatility expansion from the lowest level ever, and is pointed up on momentum as long as you're above $95,200. And on the monthly as well, it's currently flipped to the upside freshly, with volatility confirming expansion on the volatility setup. You get volatility closing over 15% on the monthly, and it is now at 19%. And the monthly setup has a 100% hit rate of going in the direction of momentum. And currently, momentum is pointed up as long as you're closing over $103,800. And if you were to look at every one of the previous moves to the upside, it was greater than 100%. So applying the 50% move is not that crazy from here. 2 week is currently also pointed to the upside on momentum. Going to be pointed up as long as you're above $92,600 and you're rejecting getting out of the bullish control zone. And you have a nice little volatility set up right here with volatility sitting at 8%.
Comment.
And when it, on the 2 week and the monthly. And when the monthly one has already confirmed expansion. But when the 2 week one starts expanding, and they're both lining up together, that's going to be the move that you're looking for.
Wait, we're back again into the 2 week is literally the Hamas setup and the Nagasaki setup, which now are the greatest United States ally setup and the Persian setup, right?
Yeah.
So
we're about to get
witness, that. Which one?
We're about to get that 2 week setup once again, like we did back over here late 2023.
Yes, indeed. For those who are not aware of this and watching this for the first time, these setups are explosive. Hence the Hamas setup, which was to the upside. And now we're going to get the United States greatest ally setup right now, about to blow the fuck up, because that's also to the upside. The Persian one is to the downside, unfortunately, for all Persians watching this. But I'm sure you're busy. You're busy dealing with savage cars right now in Glendale.
And buying gold Rolexes with blue faces. It's funny. The one that I just sold like 2 weeks ago was the blue face with the two-tone, and I was like, this is the Persian Rolex.
It is the Persian setup on the Rolex.
So the last 2 week setup gave us a minimum move, not minimum, but more immediate move of about 57%. So let's just take 55% from where we are at the moment. It's about $169,000. Very nice number. Very, very beautiful number. Weekly is also currently pointed once again to the upside, and volatility is currently technically in the contraction phase, but we haven't closed the weekly yet to confirm it. And momentum is going to be pointed up above 111,500, which we are below by about $4,000 right now. We got 6 days for the bulls to pump the price up, but it does make it a lot more likely that they will, since momentum is currently to the upside. 5 days currently flipped down with volatility contraction, so you're likely going to make a higher low. And it is very possible that the higher low is currently in at this, I believe, the 9 EMA. And momentum is going to be down as long as you're closing below 110,250. Where if the weekly does keep momentum up, it'll likely flip the 5 day back up. 2 days now sitting at extreme lows on volatility at the 0%, sitting at about 1.5%. We're freshly flipping to the upside of momentum, rejecting the bearish control zone and pointed up above 104,250. The last 2 day volatility setup gave us how much of a move up from expansion? About 46-45% to the upside. 46-45% to the upside from here takes us into the 150s. Very cool. And that would be the monthly median.
Blow off top. Blow off top.
I would love to see a nice little top at about 150s to maybe 169. And while everyone is asking for 200K, and we just make a nice little top at 169.
That'd be quite poetic if you ask me.
That would be like 2021 all over again.
Yeah.
At 69K.
Very fancy.
Daily is now getting volatility expansion freshly. with momentum trying to be pointed to the downside, and we're going to be pointed down below about 109,200. We have 9 hours left to go. Let's see the 4 hours. I believe the 4 hours is going to be pointed up. And it is indeed pointed up with the volatility setup. 4 hours now pointed up as long as you're above 106,550, with volatility expanding for many periods of 0%, making it a lot more likely that daily is going to flip up. And I believe 4 hours now giving us a silver cross. We're very close to it. Where's my 55 EMA? Right over here. So we're very close to a silver cross. Maybe on 2 more closures, so about 5-ish hours, we are going to confirm that silver cross, and likely that's going to take us to these highs over here, about 110 to 111. And that would flip the daily momentum back to the upside. 2 days currently pointed freshly up with a volatility setup, looking primed that within this next week or two, we are going to get some busting action. All right, so on the high time frames, Bitcoin is looking extremely bullish. We have a beautiful United States setup, another one of those the other word, the explosive setups coming.
No. The explosive setup is the greatest ally to the United States, right?
We have a greatest United States ally setup.
There you
we
go.
have momentum on the quarterly pointed up with a volatility expanding from the lowest level ever, while Tether is pointed down on the quarterly. Tether will have possible hidden bullish divergence on the quarterly as long as you're closing above 2.23%. So whenever that does confirm, likely does end our crypto market starting about 1.5 to 2 years of sideways and down. And monthly is now putting in hidden bearish divergence on Tether, while Bitcoin is putting in hidden bullish divergence, also putting in another possible driver hidden bullish divergence. And volatility has confirmed expansion on the monthly on Bitcoin, while momentum is pointed to the upside, which has a 100% hit rate of going playing out to the upside. 2 week is now also giving you a volatility setup with momentum pointing up and hidden bullish divergence. And we have now 2 day volatility setup with volatility sitting at 0% and momentum is freshly pointed to the upside, making it very likely that within this next maximum 1 to 2 weeks, we are going to get some explosive moves to the upside, some United States greatest ally setups to the upside. And our targets to the upside are sitting somewhere between about 116 to 125. And then the higher levels are sitting about 150 to $169,000. And the invalidation on all of this is getting either a tick below about 74,400 or a weekly close below about $100,000. But aside from, don't think that's going to happen, though. I think the moves to the upside are going to play out. Probably going to tap somewhere around 116, 114. Probably get some short form consolidation there, and then I would look for a move into the 125 to 130 area, and then about very likely some consolidation around that point, and then a few weeks after, maybe a couple of days to a few weeks, then I expect the monthly median to tap to 150. And I do think between 150 and 169 is going to be our cycle top.
That is pretty fucking nice, if I may say so myself, sir. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Just real quick. By the way, guys, if you're watching this, I'm Alejandro. You're not watching someone stealing my channel or anything. I became homeless. I lost everything. So you guys can donate down. We're just doing some trading with Baran and Alex over here. So in case you were wondering what the fuck, we're just trading. In case you're interested in losing some money with us, you're invited. You can do it. You can lose all of your money with us. You can enjoy it. I don't like losing money, but I do every now and then.
My fart coin wallet is in the description if you want to make a donation.
Yeah. We should put our fart coin wallets for sure down here in case people want to absolutely donate some fart coins into our pockets, of course. All righty, I'm gonna do this. So normally I translate in Spanish and then we get back to English. So most of this shit's gonna be in English. If you guys are watching, you can just chill for 10 minutes, look at everything, and then I'll be back with
I will take a pisseroonie.
Oh, you go do you, sir. You go do you. All right. I need to know why this is here. Okay. Estamos viendo los Bitcoin, damas y caballeros, y estos Bitcoin están pompeando de acuerdo al plan. Simplemente, ya lo sabemos, guerra es alcista. Por supuesto que sí. Que no te mientan, que no te digan otra cosa, que no te quiten tu dinero. Aquí lo tenemos, damas y caballeros, en vivo y en directo. Justamente lo platicamos día pasado. Es lo único que tienes que saber de la guerra. Y hemos cambiado los nombres de los setups. Ahora mismo vamos a ir uno por uno. Lo primero que estamos viendo es Bitcoin, la tabla de Coinbase en $107,790 en este momento, empujando para tener este cierre mensual más alto de toda la historia. Voy a empezar en la de 3 meses acá en la trimestral. Pueden ver que también tenemos el cierre trimestral más alto posible de toda la historia. Solamente faltan 14 días y 10 horas para este cierre trimestral. Además de que tenemos volatilidad. Recuerden, esto es nuestro indicador de volatilidad, es nuestro BBWP. Para todos los que lo estén buscando, la línea de colores es volatilidad, la línea blanca es absolutamente el promedio de la volatilidad. Aquí arriba en el 100%, aquí abajo en la línea azul es el 0%, esta línea verde yo la puse, es el 15%. Nos gusta cuando volatilidad idealmente baja por debajo del 15, se queda por acá y luego bolas, güey. Toma, esos son nuestros setups favoritos. Pero cuando tienes la volatilidad tocando el punto más bajo de la tabla en la trimestral en Bitcoin y está expandiendo, ¿hacia dónde lo está haciendo? Esa es la pregunta del millón y podemos ver por acá, si colocamos una de estas hermosas líneas verticales, que hace una expansión hacia la alza. Y esa expansión hacia la alza nos ha llevado de los $71,000 hasta los 107,000. Bueno, pongamos el máximo histórico a los $112,000. Como de que no. Si pongo el HPDR en putiza, o lo pongo en pantalla, como sea, podemos ver que nuestra parte alta de la zona azul está ahí por ahí de los 113,842. Bueno, las buenas noticias es, nos faltan 14 días y no sé cuántos, 14 días y 10 horas. Estamos por encima de la media, lo que nos da más altas probabilidades de ir a buscar esta parte de la zona alta de la zona azul. Por encima de los 113,881, vamos a tener un viaje a los 147,560. Y de acuerdo a todos nuestros setups de volatilidad, incluyendo el trimestral que se está dando, esto empieza a tener cara de que es posible. Además, aquí tenemos la mensual. La mensual nos está dando un excelente setup de volatilidad, donde ya la volatilidad está por encima del promedio y expandiendo ante la expansión de precio a la alza. Momentum también está apuntando a la alza y normalmente cuando momentum y volatilidad están apuntando en la mensual a la alza en Bitcoin, eso te da un 100% de hit rate. Nunca ha fallado. Nuestra media está en los $137,000. Y eso quiere decir que siempre y cuando estemos por encima de los 105,900, tenemos una alta probabilidad de venir a tocar esta media en los $137,000. La parte alta de la zona azul está en los 170,600. Interesante porque Farhan estaba diciendo que el tope podría ser los 169,000, ¿no? Además de que es por la cultura. Y los 170 es la parte alta de esto y ahí es donde podríamos encontrar este tope local cuando todo el mundo diga, nos vamos a 200 y bolas, güey, un retroceso de no mames. Este podría ser ese movimiento. Una vez más, momentum apuntando para arriba con volatilidad, apuntando para arriba, empezando a expandir de los puntos más bajos de la tabla en toda la historia. Eso nos da una muy alta probabilidad de estos 137,000 viniendo a casa, como de que no. 2 semanas, también 2 semanas nos está dando aquí un setup potente. Las últimas 2 semanas, lo que habíamos visto antes, esto fue lo que nos dio el setup de Hamas, por supuesto, lo vimos por acá, ¿no? Donde habíamos visto la expansión ante esto, pum, pum, para arriba, y luego un segundo setup de Hamas acá, donde también tuvimos expansión a la alza. ¿Por qué se llama setup de Hamas? Porque eran explosivos. Ahora continuamos con los setups explosivos, pero ya Hamas básicamente está desintegrado, por lo que este setup de volatilidad se va a llamar el setup del aliado más grande y amado de toda la historia de Estados Unidos. Ese es el setup del aliado más grande y ustedes podrán saber y se imaginarán cuál será ese gran aliado y más querido de toda la historia. Es el setup... No vamos a mencionar nada, pero aquí está a punto de ser explosivo a la alza. La última vez a ellos les tocó ser explosivos del otro lado con el setup de Hamas. Esta vez ellos son los que están ocasionando esta gran partida a la alza. Así que vámonos con su setup. Bastante bien. Esto nos dice que tenemos una muy alta probabilidad, estando por encima de la media que se encuentra en $92,000, de tocar los 114,225 y de ahí una alta probabilidad de ir a ese 61.8% para dar continuación, sobre todo cuando vemos movimientos de este tamaño. Estamos hablando este tipo de setups como el setup del mejor aliado de Estados Unidos y el más querido. Son de 35% en promedio de donde está el precio y eso en este momento nos pone en $146,000 a la alza o a la baja, si es que se llega a dar, que no lo veo tan posible, 69,100. Yo creo que primero vamos para arriba y después para abajo. Semanal. Semanal, tenemos volatilidad por debajo de nuestro promedio, por lo que no tenemos nada por acá. Estamos expandiendo, estamos por encima del promedio del 9, estamos por encima de la media y estamos por encima de esta línea meme que pinté por alguna razón, que da igual. Pero estando por encima de los 107,327, tenemos una muy alta probabilidad de venir a tocar estos $114,000 y después dar continuación al 61.8% o hasta el 78.6% una vez que retomamos la parte alta de la zona azul. Es lo que tiene cara de poner. Vamos a la de harina, la diaria, en estos bitcoins. Pueden ver que nos venimos a recargar en el 34. Hemos completamente reventado a la alza. Esta línea meme estaba acá para aguantar, claramente. Aguantó perfecto y vamos por acá. Ahora, ¿qué tenemos que romper? $108,000. Arriba de los $108,000, $111,000 se vuelve la siguiente posibilidad y de ahí los 115,000, por supuesto que hasta los 120,000 si hay continuación en todo este movimiento. Lo que tiene cara es que va a tener esa continuación. Por ahora volatilidad nos había fintado que iba a bajar, pero comienza a expandir una vez más. Y ahora la cosa de esta volatilidad, si la volteamos a ver con la tabla de 4 horas, podemos ver que la tabla de 4 horas tiene un setup del mejor aliado de toda la historia de Estados Unidos. Y está justo acá, el que estamos dispuestos a defender a capa y espada, darles todo nuestro dinero. Y si pudiéramos nuestra propia sangre, aquí está ese setup justamente acá en el 61.8%, lo que a continuación nos diría que vamos a ir hasta los 111,000, pero el primer objetivo realista son 109,529. Este setup explotando acá nos dice que el diario va a continuar y eso nos pone en aquella tesitura que nos manda los 114, 114, 119, 119, 124, 125 y de ahí ya se pone loca la cosa. Aunque ya ahí está bastante loca la cosa, tal cual como estamos en este momento. Bitcoin muy, muy alcista todavía en todas las temporalidades, sobre todo en las de alto plazo. Estás viendo el setup de 2 semanas, preparando un setup de aquellos del mejor aliado de Estados Unidos, el más querido y el más amado. Y también lo estás viendo en la mensual, donde siempre va acompañado de momento apuntando a la alza. Eso quiere decir que volatilidad muy probablemente vaya a apoyar el precio yendo a la alza, que tiene un 100% de correlación hasta ahora. Esos son los trades que nos gustan, los fáciles. Así que Bitcoin muy, muy alcista. Vamos a ver la dominancia de Bitcoin. Solamente por el show que tiene, por supuesto, voy a quitar la de 4 horas en este momento y vámonos a la semanal, 2 semanas. 2 semanas para poder verla de lejitos. Y acá estamos viendo, un segundo, creí que había quitado el HPDR. Y acá simplemente vemos que la dominancia de Bitcoin continúa yéndose hacia arriba con demasiada fuerza. Una vez que rompamos los 64.81%, nuestro siguiente objetivo van a ser los 67%. Y de ahí va a haber continuación a la alza hasta el 71%. Y vamos a ver si ahí se para o va a continuar. De acuerdo a condiciones de mercado, yo diría que esto va a continuar. Y la razón por qué es porque no hay nada que nos diga que va a haber un alt season en este momento, aparte de Raoul Paul y cualquier otro imbécil que esté en línea. No hay nada que nos diga que va a haber alt season. Recuerden, la última vez que hubo alt season significó que la gente tenía tanto dinero que estaban dispuestos a desperdiciarlo en fotos de monitos, que de nuevo, a mí me encanta vender fotos de monitos y comprarlas también. Pero por desgracia en este momento no hay dinero extra en el sistema para poder comprar fotos de monitos, por lo que no hay nada que nos diga que esta dominancia de Bitcoin va a voltearse al otro lado. Cuando vemos dominancia de Tether, podemos ver que estamos haciendo altos, altos más bajos, altos más bajos, bajos, bajos más bajos, y justo estamos en medio de esto. Si fuéramos a apostar a dónde vamos, probablemente a tocar este SMA 200 que se encuentra en los 388 en la de 2 semanas, y además está preparando un setup. Todavía no sabemos si va a ser un setup del aliado más grande de Estados Unidos en toda la historia o un setup persa, que sería a la baja. Esta vez estamos usando a la oposición como a la baja, como es la fantasía de todos y el plan de todos. Bitcoin se ve bastante alcista, el dólar continúa buscando justamente este nivel y justamente está al 100%, está buscando este nivel para poder tener el blow off top, tener esa última caída, que todo el mundo diga, Bitcoin es la salvación del planeta, que todo el mundo diga, el dólar se está acabando, vamos a Bitcoin, eso es todo. Cuando veas que el peso, el euro, todo esto sube en contra del dólar por última vez, el euro llegue al 1.20, el peso llegue a los 18 planos, etcétera, todo el mundo va a decir, se acabó Estados Unidos, y tómala por el culo a todos. Es lo que estamos esperando, todavía vamos de acuerdo al plan, todo continúa, así que nada ha cambiado, damas y caballeros. Continuamos siendo alcistas hasta que la fiesta acabe y todavía nos falta mínimo la noticia del Producto Interno Bruto y todo esto, lo que nos da tiempo para poder seguir corriendo con esta narrativa tan deliciosa. Vámonos al euro dólar, señor Alex, por favor. The euro dollar.
Let's ride it. Let's see.
See what that motherfucker do.
Yeah, I mean, the weekly was a pretty bullish close. Bulls really needed to see that one. Let me see the exact number. 1.15691 get reclaimed. That would have been a very easy trade, in my opinion, on the weekly. They just simply want this range to be possible again. Because once you popped back here and actually reclaim that zone, this led to a nice move up to 1.19542. That's the big move. I mean, bulls are really looking for euro to really hit close to $1.20 in the next month or so, and that's just off the backs of monthly BBWP expanding. EMA 100 reclaim, we held it. We're expanding on the third candle. Now again, this will just be a big in the next 14 days. This will just be a big zone. You can just see these wick highs. You just need these to essentially get flipped into support, SR flip, leading to a new range on euro. This range is pretty big too. It's a 3.38% move over time, of course, but that's still a pretty big range for currency. Let's see here. The 2-week and the weekly, I guess, are closing in 4 days. So now we have an area of interest to gauge. You're just going to want to start seeing 2-week closures up, back above the 1.15691. That's really it. If you're not positioned now, you're just waiting for that. The 3 days looking quite bullish with BBWP actually expanding. This is really just looking like bullish consolidation. If we can just continue to just hold above the zone, this should expand, breakout. Let's see what the HPDR says. So yeah, the HPDR is even in breakout. You're just approaching kind of the extremes of the HPDR. So that's why bullish consolidation would make sense to me. Then this 38.2% can step up, and then we can get out of the extreme zones over here. Because we can obviously move up from here, but you're already at the 78.6%. That's kind of what's keeping us down. Then you break out, you'll hit the 88.3%, right around 1.17821. So the idea would be you just want consolidation above support. You can obviously wick below, but all this consolidation will do is move that 3-day 9 closer to meme line support. Currently, what you're seeing on the daily happen. The difference, though, is the daily actually reclaimed and then lost. So this tells me the fact that we're breaking out, or at least just getting that bounce off the top of the 38.2%, leads me to believe that, yeah, bullish consolidation on the daily, this will just be chop. And that's why it's going to be really important to get the other higher time frame closures, like a 3-day, the weekly, the 2-week, above 1.15691, because then this can kind of eliminate the chop zone. When I see a daily doing this, reclaiming, losing it, reclaiming, and then maybe even losing it tomorrow, we'll have to see. That's just chop. And then on the lower time frames, it's more represented that way. You're just kind of chopping between the lower time frame moving averages. But even on this 5-hour view, you are back above the 5-hour 9, and you want to start seeing this 5-hour 9 move up. This 5-hour EMA 9 can actually step up. That'll be a good sign because we reclaimed it, so it's still brewing a retest, in my opinion. Euro, I guess euro rich ? I don't know.
They still can't afford AC or ICE, or
the silence was loud on that one.
They're gonna need for the euro against the dollar to go like to 5-1, so you can put ACs everywhere.
Yeah, and they still might not save them from being invaded by Russia.
What and by the way, what about the toilets? They're too small for the large American asses. I feel like the average American going to Europe is like shitting in a Pringles can for me, or for you, Alex, or for
it's
Farhan.
impossible to use those. It's impossible to use those airport restrooms with your suitcase. You can't fit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you got to leave it outside so that people that smell like fucking they've never showered before can just look at your luggage outside and know that you're there and not steal it.
And
You got to trust it.
Europeans reek of cigarettes.
Oh, that's pretty good though. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Cigarettes and wine.
As I smoke hookah every single fucking day. Get out of here.
Hey, hookah smells good.
I agree. I would agree with everything you just said, sir.
Cigarettes
I
smell
mean,
like shit.
to me, Euro's looking good. It's just more, I'm not really convinced we're going to get a breakout move yet to that zone. Rather so, I'd rather just want to start seeing that bullish consolidation, because if we can get the bullish consolidation, then that can lead to a really good weekly and 2 week. And then I think we can get the move. Because, you know, you're just kind of playing, like if you're trading lower time frames, it's perfectly okay. But you're just kind of like it's aggressive, because this just really could wick under, close below. If you go to like the 4 hour, you could just be like on a price divergence here, rejection down. That's why it's just really crucial to start watching the daily, using that to then dissect the 3 day and see how that closes, leading then to potentially a weekly and 2 week reclaim. If the 2 week and weekly reclaim can happen, I'll be a lot more confident saying, yeah, we'll see a nice move up on euro. But I mean, you're at the extreme ranges on the weekly. It just makes sense to me to see some kind of consolidation at this point. It must have been the 2 week. Let me see.
And by the way, do you mind just also consolidating this analysis by throwing in the DXY and the Japanese yen and the peso? It's kind of like the same, because
it is.
That kind of shows really how everything is working towards the same side right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I'll do that for sure. So, I mean, in summary, you're just watching and waiting to see if we get a higher time frame closure above April 14th wick high. If you do, and that'll start on like the 3 day and then the 2 week and the weekly, yeah, that'll be a really good sign to get a nice busting action move to 1.19535. Now let's check the dollar and see if there's any confluence in this, because remember, it's the inverse relationship. When the dollar is going down, euro will go up. And so let's see, because if we're on the basis that, you know, euro is going to do bullish consolidation and a move up, then that would mean that Dixie would need to be bearish. And so what we have is bearish. Yes, we have actually a weekly downtrend. What you're going to notice is this is a weekly lower low now. So this could actually give an idea, which is, you know, if we started to close those weekly candles above that support zone at 1.15691, a pullback would make sense. You know, a pullback either then testing that 3 day EMA 9 when it moves up, or even going a little deeper and testing closer to maybe the weekly EMA 5. We can throw that on right there. It still would be very bullish to me though. And that's just based on the Dixie, because after the lower low, you should be gauging now at the next lower high. That's just how the trend works. And so, you know, if you were gauging euro and trying to get positioned, you would just be waiting for the weekly reclaim and then a pullback on that weekly candle leading to a spring. It would be interpreted by a Dixie lower high. So now, as long as you're under essentially this low, I mean, this high, this wick high that was formed on May 26, any move up from here can just be a lower high. Now, you can easily gauge this 99.718 level as resistance, which is right around the weekly 9. What you're noticing on the dollar, at least, is when you're starting to really bust up and make like an extremity high, it really does get rejected on the weekly 9. The weekly 5 is the easy spot to reject, but if you don't immediately, you know, reject that, then you often go to the weekly 9, and then that's the extremity high. Why I'm saying that is because it's right around where our mean line support is, which already has shown to us that this is resistance. So any move up on the dollar to around that 99.73 is going to be looked at as resistance. With volatility contracting here, you know, mean reversion bounce to a lower high would not surprise me at all. But that would also mean that, you know, euro would need to consolidate and get that weekly and 2 week close. You don't want to start seeing Dixie putting in that lower high move, you know, immediately. I think I just took this off my watch list. Oh, nice. Huh. You wouldn't really want to see this happen immediately. And that's why it kind of plays into the point if you go to like the 3 day, which is, you know, you could just easily consolidate here. And this would just be bearish consolidation leading to a really bad weekly. Now, you can easily just draw a line here and see this. So, you know, very well could do something like this. And then you get that 2 week and weekly, and then you can make that, you know, more high, lower high on the weekly. Because, you know, bears are really going to need this to just close under these, the last wick low essentially. And so for that to occur, you just need this to kind of chill here or go down lower. And it obviously could, because the next objective for me, just how I look at things, is $93 to $95. And that is just based on first the mean line and the ranges. We've seen this work out really nicely. If we, I guess, extend this one here, you then can see, right? This was resistance leading to that breakdown to 93. Visually, you can see this was really trying to be defended hard by bulls by really flipping this wick high into support. So being under here really does just kind of make it in a drop zone where we really can't just drop until the $93 region. But when you start looking at like the 2 month as well, you start realizing, well, yeah, we actually have that 2 month EMA 100, and that off the backs of 2 month BBWP about to confirm on this closure in 14 days. That's significant because minimum, I mean, you're going to get a move down here to 2.36%. But what we've seen on the dollar on this two month volatility setup is once it starts firing off, well, you generally don't stop. And so what we see is it really started to fire off here in 2021. And then it ever so reset. So we see it ever so slightly reset here. Did it? Let me confirm that. No, so it didn't reset. Almost did. Broke out, and then right here is where we really started to fire off. But through that whole move where we're checking up, I mean, look at all the green candles. And this is on a 2 months. This is just significant. But then once you really start to fire off, that's when the fun began. And it really wasn't until you got back above specifically that 21 here, where then you had that move up, busting action move above all the major moving averages, where the dollar went up 21.8%, which is honestly very significant. Now, the difference here is that you had extreme volatility, meaning you're at 0% here. You didn't reach 0%. You were at like 2.23, but it's still significant. And in my opinion, I mean, having a range down from this point to 93 really wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if this really is going to expand to the full length of this volatility setup, like what we saw here in 2022, yeah, I mean, this really could go all the way down, like pretty nastily down. I'm just not on the camp that's going to occur yet until we actually start seeing these very high time frame moving averages get lost. Because, you know, you still have even the quarterly EMA 100 here. You very well could just dump down and then just start trekking up or even consolidating. It's just not really until you get these 2 month and 3 month EMA 100s lost where I'm going to actually be quite concerned. And then here you even have the SMA 200, and that is right around $96 and 62 cents. Let's check the 2 month. Oh yeah, look at that, right at $93. This honestly fits my bias more. So, I mean, when we're looking at the dollar, it just looks like it wants to go lower. And when we're gauging that, it's not like it's going to capitulate down. In my opinion, I don't think we're going to see under $90 Dixie. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a move up, hit close to 120 on euro. This would be a bearish retest anyways on the 2 month. You did lose support here. You dumped down. While also retesting that SMA 200. On the euro, that's really where we like to dump hard. We can go to the quarterly here as well. We are wicking above, but we've seen this before even, where on this twice actually, where we wicked above, we actually hit our 120 zone, 119, 120, and then before we closed, we came all the way down. And then here we hit our area. It's like a major move up really fast to a major rejection down. This didn't actually reclaim that EMA 100. But then we busted up and then did it here, and then it was lost. So choppy, yes, but the point being is that you are at big spots on Forex. I think the dollar can go down lower, and let's actually check now my criteria for that. I just love how I deleted the Dixie chart. And that was based on here. It was the monthly. So now the monthly is potentially going to lose the EMA 100. And then 14 days though, so a long time. But then the 2 week is what I'm interested in, because like what I was saying on the euro, you know, the 2 week reclaiming this region is significant. And how we can interpret this with the dollar is, well, we've been watching this solidly, the 2 week SMA 200. Because what I've seen is on the dollar here is the 2 week SMA 200, big moves occur really off the back of this, when this 2 week SMA 200 starts getting lost. Because it's really hard to be gauging a 2 month, a monthly, a 3 month, and all those have like 14 days to 14 days to close. So rather, let's use the 2 week. This has 4 days, and then we can really start gauging a trade. Because what we've seen last time is once that 2 week SMA 200 was lost, you did rally up to it, but this was just opportunity zones to short. And so what we can see here is that 2 week SMA 200 was defended well. Let me get to that in this zone here. Defended. So this was support. You start losing this 2 week SMA 200 and also seeing this EMA 5 while getting a lower low. What could we gather from there? Well, most likely a lower high on dollars formed on that 2 week. And then that way, we don't have to take out May 26 high. This is the next lower high, lower low. Then we could potentially make the next lower high around here. To me, that just makes sense. And that's why it's just going to be important to stay under this yellow line for the next 4 days. Either keep going down on the dollar or just stay under. I think we have FOMC this week, so that is going to move currencies. But overall, I mean, yeah, it's pretty weak. And I will be gauging potentially a dollar short if we get this 2 week SMA 200 loss. Because it just makes sense. And this is what we've been waiting on. I mean, once it's just, you can backtest it yourself. Generally, like once you really do lose that SMA 200 and actually reject off of it, I mean, you just can get nice moves off of that. 4%. Lots of chop. Let's see what this one was. It's 2%. It was, low, but that's still kind of big for a currency, honestly. And then here, that was 14%. And I'm just doing all of them. So you can just see how well this kind of works. And this one was very big. %30 from this retest. That's crazy. And then lastly, I'll just do a reclaim one too. The flip side, once you get above that, and you do just see big moves up or down, and then this one down, this one down. And it's like, if you were a trader gauging this 2 week, this kind of would have helped you a lot. Yeah, chop a little bit, but that's where trend comes into play. And then you would have been able to catch pretty epic shorts on Forex, just gauging the 2 week or even long. So that's what's potentially brewing on the dollar is, a breakdown, a lower high rally to then a major nuke. And again, we can just interpret that by maybe it just retests the weekly 5 on euro. But we got to see this zone support at 1.15691 get reclaimed. Now let's look at some yen, because this is actually quite fun to trade. Let's see here. Let me go to the monthly. Nice. So the Japanese yen is looking bullish to me. We were actually gauging a move down here. I don't know when I looked at this, but I actually shouldn't have deleted that because that will pertain to what I'm saying. So we were kind of gauging a move down. We're noticing that support here was well respected. Let's see why we were gauging a move down to here. It must have been something. Well, we had the 2 month 21. It's not that specific though.
Sorry, what must have been something? I was walking into.
I'm like, why did I have this here? I wonder what we were watching on yen to hit this region before it bounced.
So normally that's when the market's doing really good. When it's all the way at the top, that's when the market is at the bottom.
Oh, and it was this.
So if it's coming down, then so if it's coming down, that's bullish for the stock market.
Yeah, and that's because I was just like, we both talk about Forex. We were here. I was like, why did we want to bounce here? Oh, but that totally makes sense now. So we actually got that bounce. We wanted to move down to the weekly 2 week EMA 100 because when we were looking at this, all we've had really in regards to price action was kind of in 2021 when we were pretty aggressively under it, reclaimed it, and then held above it, getting back above the 2-week SMA 200, leading to a busting action move. Then for years, you didn't test that EMA 100. So then what we're noticing is here, the EMA 100 was moving up, reaching around that 140 region. Yen is one of my favorite things besides euro to trade on Forex because of the volatility and the ranges. The ranges are often a lot bigger than, let's say, the euro, in my opinion, because this simple range can be an 8.43%, which is insane. But this is well respected. Each time you go to 140s, you get a nice move back up to at minimum 151 to 152. You reclaim 152, you get a move up to 160s. That's always the extremity high for the yen. And then you dumped, you hit 140, boom, same thing. You reclaimed 152, got to move up to like 158, almost 159. Little price divergence. You dumped, you lost the 9. You then broke down into April 14th. You actually whipped and you hit the EMA 100. From there, you've been consolidating, yes, under the moving averages, but this is why the little detail matters for me, because even so, after this wick low, you're putting in bullish structure because you're not taking out this low, not even this low. And if you start looking at it on like a lower time frame, you can just see that this is kind of like the itchings of an uptrend. Oh, God. Oh, my apologies. So fun that happens. Like I was saying, that this is the itchings of an uptrend, unconfirmed really until you get back above the EMA 100. And why I'm using the EMA 100 is because I could say, like, you know, you got to break this wick high, you break this wick high, but really to do all that, you just get back above the EMA 100. And on any chart, that is, you know, bullish. So for me, the yen is looking bullish and it looks like it wants to go up. And that is based on the monthly too. So we lost to 34, and this was significant because if we weren't going to actually reclaim the 34, the yen would have a move to around that 129 mark. I mean, that's just how I look at the ranges. And honestly, Forex respects the moving averages really well. But we actually reclaimed it. So now this should give us a move up. Let me take the 5 off. And this, how I'm viewing it, should give us a move up to at least 147.34. Again, playing into the idea that, you know, the dollar can easily like consolidate where it's at, but a lower high move is brewing, in my opinion, a mean reversion move. And I believe so. When the dollar, I'm having a brain fart. When the dollar is going up, the yen is. When the dollar is going down, the yen is going down.
So hang on. The pair that you have it in the way that you have it. When Dixie's coming down, so when the dollar is coming down. Yeah. This means that the dollar is weak on the yen. So it should go with right now, the dollar. If the yen goes the other way, like if the dollar goes the other way around and the yen weakens, because that's what it would, it's kind of like in pesos. You're looking at 144 yens per dollar, right? So it's like the 17 per peso. So that means when that is going up, that means that the dollar is getting stronger against the peso and the peso is weakening. And the same thing here. So whenever the US JPY goes up, that means it's weakening. That means
and that makes sense. Brain fart move on me, because then that's why you have Japan intervened here often, because they don't like their currency going up, and they can just manipulate it and say they don't manipulate it, but they do. So in summary, though, then that's good to know.
Yeah, they usually say they're not going to intervene, and then they'd be like, "Oh,
instantly,
by the way, we just intervened."
and then you get a candle like this, and it's like, "Oh yeah, we did intervene."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because that's what was, sometimes I just get a brain fart, lots of stuff here. So that actually makes sense. If we're already in lower low posturing on the dollar, then this honestly would make sense to start moving to at least get a rejection of the EMA 100 minimum, because I do think the yen can start going up. Let's see the daily now. So the daily, it's all just dependent on the 34. I mean, really, you can just get back above the 34 and reclaim it. You'll get a move up to 146, because the lower time frames are rejecting, and you are still under all of them. And that's significant as long as you're not taking out the previous wick lows. So now you can be using yesterday's wick low as a nice spot. You don't want that to get lost, but you know, you just need to start seeing like something get reclaimed here, specifically even a daily 9. What does the HBDR say? Oh, okay, so you are above the median, retested it, tried to even break out today. Volatility is low. So move on yen is brewing, in my opinion. It should be up, and that's just based on the monthly chart. Reclaiming that EMA 34 in the monthly was pretty good to me. That'll either just be a trap and we'll lose it this month, but it really does seem like bulls are trying to grind up and move up. And even right around that 148, we have that median. You know, that's just shown here on the monthly. You hold the 34, you go up to the 21, the 9's right around the same zone. You know, that median, it's all right around 148. So, you know, it seems to me like potentially 148 could be the spot for the yen. Either reject that or reclaim. You reclaim 148, yeah, you'll be back above the daily SMA 200 essentially, or you should just be gauging that. But at least the EMA 100. And we can even just go to the 2-day then, because the 2-day works even better. And yeah, 148 would be a really nice reclaim of that EMA 100. That's really where this move started, by the way, is when you've lost this 2-day EMA 100, rejected it here, and then expanded down. SMA 200 rejection, nuke. So what we can decipher from this is it's really going to start on the daily 34. Got to get back above the daily 34 and actually break above 145.50. If you can do that, that'll start looking really good. Because breaking back above 145.50 would mean the 2-day is potentially a chance to trend to shift price structure. 34 has been holding us down. If we can get back above there, that'll be a really good sign off the backs of a monthly EMA 34 reclaim. Next objective for me will be 148 to 150. That's major support though. And that's just shown on the 2-day, the daily. And then even if you want to go higher time frame, the 2-week you have here, and you also have the 9 crossing under the 21, which is bearish. No silver cross. But then even on the monthly as well. Next objective would be 148. You should be gauging that as to reject, and you don't want this monthly high to get taken out. So, you know, it's similar to here. It's like you're going to move up to the 21. You just need to either reclaim that or reject it. When we're zooming out of the yen, the 21 is pretty big. I mean, that's just a big area. These are often where macro bottoms are formed. So now that we're under it, we've already rejected it once. You have to be very aware that if you do rally up to it, which can happen, easily can happen, that's going to be a major rejection zone, leading potentially to this EMA 100. This is potentially where you get that major move on euro up to that 120, and then maybe even down to 93s to 95s on the dollar. But that doesn't mean that we can't get, you know, a bounce first. And I do think that on the dollar, a bounce is brewing potentially. And that's just based on trend, really. So, and we even have a weekly silver cross on the yen now. The 21 is right around 147, and then the 55 is at 148. So, yeah, lots of confluence on the yen that says 148 should reject. You know, this zone's pretty big. So how I can decipher this is, you know, maybe this gets a nice move up and then rejects, and then the dollar here can actually then get that close and then that bearish retest. That would make a lot of sense. And then leading to potentially just euro consolidation like this, just chop. Maybe it plays within this wick too. You can like look at it like maybe a new range, like boom, wicks up. But you just don't want, if you get any kind of weekly close above the 1.15691, that should not get lost anymore on like the weekly, the 3-day, and the 2-week. You start losing that, then it'll start giving you a short trade. And then you'll have to really wonder, maybe the yen's going to get a bigger bounce. I don't think I have a GBP chart. Oh, I do. Same thing. You're just waiting for the 2-week to close here. 2-week closes above that 1.3412. Easy move up to the 1.4256. Let's see what that is on the 2-month, because I know you were showing a 2-month chart. Yeah, and look at that. EMA 100 right around that zone. So in summary, everyone's getting quite bearish on the dollar. It's kind of like what you've been saying, what I've been saying, which is, yes, dollar now can go lower. And even if we interpret even the peso, I always do that. just do it this way. Tradition at this point. You know, you're almost at support now. You're almost there. Can the peso go lower a little bit? Absolutely. But, you know, that just will, to me, reflect a 120 on euro, a 96 to 94, 93 on Dixie. And maybe then the yen is actually going to put in a bottom. Well, no, the yen will bottom easily when you just simply get a weekly close above that EMA 100. What am I going to take?
The yen is the one that's going to lead the risk for me, like my risk indicator. Yeah, closing.
Because that's what's throwing me off, because it looks slightly bottomed. I mean, honestly.
No, so the yen is different than the other ones because it's the most manipulated currency. So that at least is the one that they need to manipulate the most in swings. So to me, above one, give me 1 second. Let me look at my own chart right here so I don't bullshit you. Above 146, if I start seeing daily closes above 146, I'm probably going to get the fuck out of my positions.
Yeah.
That's when, once it starts to expand above that and go towards the 157, then you're eating that whole, like all that up move. It's a down move to in the stock market, crypto, and everything.
Yeah.
Just look at where the top of that, like the middle one is. You'll remember right away. July of 2024 was like the bottom of 2024. Then go to the right to the next top. That's what, January, December.
January.
So yeah. So by the time you got there, that was the bot. Like it starts to fucking fall like crazy. So
good point. Yeah. And even if the yen went lower, the only idea I can see then is, you know, a lot of people are probably gauging this, calling triple bottom or whatnot. You know, if this did end up dumping one more time, like what you're saying, even like a blow off top scenario across the board, could just do this. Because we've seen this low get, you know, essentially hold really nicely at 137.670 essentially. Until this really breaks though, yeah, I mean, you're just actually at support now in the yen. And you just reclaimed the 34, and this is looking like it wants to go to 147s. There it could reject. There you get your, you know, lower highs, and like what I said, and then you could maybe make that move down to 137. People here who think they caught the bottom get smoked. We get one more move down. What would that potentially even hit? No, because you really do need to see this 2-week EMA 100 hold. This doesn't hold. I mean, this really can collapse to 125. But yeah, I mean, this is looking more not at least slightly locally bottomed. It just really then on the higher time frames, it just needs the daily to reciprocate that, which would be a reclaim of the 34, leading to the EMA 100. Be cognizant of this being a bearish retest because you did SFP it. So bears will be horny and waiting to actually short that. And yeah, I mean, same idea here even too. So if you did get a bigger move up, like 150 should be a big spot. And that's on any chart. And then if you get back with the SMA 200, yeah, this here then will really start looking like a bottom. But as I was saying on the peso, you know, it does look to me like, oh well, it does look to me like we're almost there. Yeah, almost there. Now maybe it happens off this 2-week as well. Seems like the next 2 weeks is going to be interesting for Forex because if you start losing that EMA 100, easily then could take you to the next support line around 1850s, especially off the backs of low volatility.
Check your monthly.
Oh yeah, and then it would even hit the 95%. Let's check the monthly now. Oh yeah, nice. So yeah, that makes sense. It's just that's gonna be a magnet, really. This EMA 100 should be a magnet for price. I really don't see why it's not gonna hit that before the month's end. And if it doesn't hit it, and we just start wicking up, getting back over the 34, it'll be a great sign. Maybe we're front running that. But yeah, this is still the idea until proven otherwise. And I still believe that euro, if it can get back above this zone, 1.15691, will easily hit this 120. And then I do think this will make an easy short on the euro because, you know, we've seen this before literally on euro, which is a major move up. Everyone gets bullish. We hit the SMA 200 a few times, by the way. Boom, boom, boom. And then we bigly reject. And I mean, from this point, led you all the way down to here. 23%. It took a long time, but still, that's just like the prime place to be swing shorting euro if you're looking. Because if you start really getting back above 120, what's the idea then? I mean, there's no idea. And then maybe then something crazy is about to happen. So, yeah. That's all I have on Forex stuff. Very interesting stuff. It all looks like it's more in sequence. The only thing that's kind of the outlier for now is the yen, because it's just looking stronger than them all. But as you said, it's more manipulated. It does tend to.
I think the yen is ahead of it, if you will. That's the way I look at it. Like the yen is moving ahead. So we haven't had that like touch that we've had at the bottom by the basically that bottom touch, the last big red candle, exactly that one. In my view, that's where the peso's heading. That's where the euro's heading. That's where all of those guys are heading. And then it's starting to form a little structure onto the right, and then the moves come in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. So then this just low holds, and then you're actually betting on the weekly EM, or what was it, the 2-week EMA 100 holding, which is not dumb because we've seen this bottom off that before. What other scenario?
The other scenario would be, I'm totally wrong. Everyone online is absolutely right. The dollar is going to go to zero. And then Europe, for some reason, is going to do better than the United States, along with Mexico and all these other places, which is fucking hilarious to think about. But hey, if it happens, it'll be fucking hilarious.
So, I mean, we've seen big moves off that 2-week EMA 100. It's not dumb to assume a bottom. Locally, even 32% off that one. This one was a 11%, and then this one was the actual bottom and move, 16.7%. We'll take it from here. That was almost 9%, 8.49. Chop, 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 and then boom. So yeah, I mean, it's not dumb to assume that this is a big spot. Now I'll look at things is if you start losing this, you do have to wonder then if you're going to test at 126. So this is, if you will, the last stand. You obviously can wick below it, but I mean, as you look at it, and if I delete all this, it really doesn't even look that bad. And like hindsight, it would be like, oh yeah, this is just in a major range. Oh wait, this was the end. Oh, yeah, well, same thing. Yeah, same thing. But yeah, that's it. Just waiting on the 2-week. 2 weeks going to really be guiding you on all these Forex pairs. And luckily that's closing in 4 days. So
yes, indeed. Thank you so much, dude. Incredibly appreciate it. We're going to do UCLA right after with Mr. Farhan. I'll do this as quick as possible.
Nice.
All right. Vámonos, vamos a darle a todo Forex para todos ustedes en vivo, en directo y a todo color. Aquí tenemos el dólar, damas y caballeros, el DXY, por supuesto, creando estos nuevos mínimos, un poco lo que habíamos ya predibujado acá, que esperamos este movimiento hacia esta zona de los 95, 94 en promedio, encontrar un nuevo mínimo y de ahí catapultarse a la alza. Ahora, todo lo que estoy a punto de decir tiene dos lados. El lado de que Estados Unidos, el dólar, se van a la mierda. El lado donde Estados Unidos queda en la nada. A Europa le va mucho mejor que a Estados Unidos. Van a imprimir menos dinero, van a tener menos inflación, le van a tener más crecimiento. Y todo eso también aplicaría para México, eso aplicaría para la Gran Bretaña, para todos estos países. Ese es el escenario que todo el mundo les está contando el día de hoy, el que estamos todos perfectamente en la cabeza, lo que ponen en todas las noticias. Se va el dólar a cero, es el fin del dólar, el euro, el oro, Bitcoin, etcétera. Todo eso va a ir para arriba. Ahora, eso significaría que todas nuestras tablas, el peso debería de irse básicamente a 10 en contra de un dólar. El euro necesita irse a 1.20, 1.50 en contra del dólar, 1.70 tal vez. La libra se debería de ir a 2 y cacho una vez más. Y eso explicaría todo. Eso quiere decir que todos tus creadores favoritos de contenido financiero están en lo correcto. Y el único idiota que dice lo contrario, que soy yo, está en lo incorrecto, que puede pasar. Ahora, una vez más, el dólar, se los voy a poner en la trimestral para que lo podamos ver de lejos. El dólar está en una clara tendencia alcista desde el 2008. Este es el 2008. Tocamos la parte de acá, vamos a la parte alta. Tocamos la parte de acá, vamos a la parte alta. Y puedes notar cómo se ve cuando bajamos de esta parte. Es tal cual así, igualito. Y acá todavía no lo hemos hecho en esta parte del canal. Estamos justamente formando eso y esto podría ser justamente en este nivel del 96 al 95, donde están tus EMAs que siempre han sido aguantados, respetados. Pero más importante, el S&P 200 fue nuestra zona de breakout, o podrías considerar el 100, cualquiera de estos dos, y estos dos están acá. Y normalmente, ¿qué decimos en este canal? Que tenemos que retestear donde rompimos y eso nos va a llevar a donde vemos con la flecha. Lo voy a borrar porque ya lo tenía puesto. Ahora, si todos sus pacos favoritos están bien, esto va a ir para abajo y esto quiere decir que lo que les estoy diciendo va al revés. Vámonos con rápidamente el euro en contra del dólar. El euro en contra del dólar justo está llegando a nuestro punto delicioso, el 1.6, pero nosotros sabemos que el euro se va a ir al 1.20 para cerrar bien este ciclo, para decirle a todo el mundo que por fin ahí nos vamos y que organicen la fiesta de una vez, porque Europa ya le chingó toda la fiesta a Estados Unidos y ahora Europa es una economía súper fuerte. Entonces, al 1.20 es donde yo pienso que el euro va a tener ese rechazo y va a continuar haciendo lo que ha hecho desde el 2008, que en contra de lo que ha estado haciendo Estados Unidos, lo vamos a poner por acá, canal paralelo, el euro ha estado simplemente bajando. Lo vemos en esta potente tendencia bajista, sin lugar a dudas. ¿Qué es lo que sigue? El euro está teniendo este breakout. ¿Va a ser un breakout o va a ser un SFP? Ahora, para toda la gente que no sepa qué es un SFP, es un movimiento falso que después tiene un movimiento contrario muy fuerte. Y ese movimiento contrario fuerte sería la baja. No es el fin del euro tampoco, pero definitivamente no es el fin del dólar y mucho menos en este momento cuando estamos hablando económicamente de un lugar. Vámonos a la libra. La libra ha estado un poco igual que el euro, ha estado en caída libre pero desde mucho antes. Vamos a ponerlo que desde el 2007, lo pueden ver acá perfectamente. La libra ahora está amenazando con irse al 1.3 o al 1.450. Yo creo que el 1.450 es realista para la libra también. Podríamos ver a la libra tener este tipo de movimiento y acá encontrarse con el rechazo e ir para abajo. De nuevo, recuerden, si piensas que el dólar se va a ir a cero, esto debería ser al revés. Deberías de estar apostando en long, en la libra long, en el peso long, en el euro long, en el yen. Es lo que deberías de estar en. El peso mexicano. Peso mexicano en la trimestral, lo pueden ver por acá. Tenemos nuestro promedio del 34 justamente acá. El 34 fue la zona de la ruptura a la alza, lo puedes ver acá. ¿Y eso qué quiere decir? Que lo vamos a venir a testear en los 18 para después el peso irse a los 27. Ya empezamos a ver los comentarios de la gente diciendo que estoy mal. Es lo que quiero ver más. Y estos van a estar por aquí abajo en los 18 planos del peso dólar, muy probablemente. Espero sea donde encuentre más o menos por esa zona piso. Podría ser el 55, un pre-front run del 55 en 17.50. Ya cambié 2/3 partes de mis pesitos a dólares. Me falta una tercera que está dividida en dos, en 18.50 y en 18 planos, la parte final de mi canjeo de pesos a dólares. Y el yen en contra del dólar, el yen es interesante porque el yen definitivamente va a venir. Ahora, mientras más sube el yen, y esta se las voy a poner en la de 2 semanas, ¿ok? ¿Por qué? La de 2 semanas. ¿Qué tenemos acá? Octubre del 2022, el fondo del mercado. Esto quiere decir que este movimiento del yen, ¿no? Este fue el fondo del mercado en el 2022. Eso quiere decir que este movimiento del dólar yen es bajista, que en lo que viste este movimiento para arriba, el mercado fue para abajo, ¿ok? Es importante entender esta relación. ¿Qué vimos acá? Octubre del 2023, antes de que fuera el setup de Hamas. Esto fue la última bajada del mercado antes de la explosión alcista hasta enero del 2024. Luego, ¿qué es lo que vimos justamente por acá? Julio del 2024 fue el fondo local del bajón del mercado, ¿ok? Y ahora tienes la explosión, otra vez, una vez más, para acá abajo fue alcista. Y luego, ¿cuál fue esta? Esta fue la bajada de enero del 2025. Cuando ves al yen en esta posición, esto es el yen contra el dólar. Cuando esta tabla sube, eso quiere decir que es como El peso yéndose a 27, esto es que puedes comprar más yenes con $1, ¿no? Es 1 a 160 aquí arriba y está 1 a 144 en este momento. ¿Qué quiere decir eso? Una vez que yo vea, y se los he puesto aquí antes, que el yen empieza a cerrar aquí arriba, en los 146, perdón, que lo vea hacer esto. Aquí voy a vender todas mis posiciones de riesgo, porque eso quiere decir que este movimiento para arriba nos va a llevar a otro mínimo, ya sea acá, acá o acá, en todo lo que es riesgo. Para mí, el yen es básicamente lo que está liderando los movimientos del mercado de Forex. El yen va adelante. Este suelo, este fondo, puede que haya sido la última cosa que tocó acá. Esto es un hombro, cabeza, hombro súper agresivo. Y al ser un hombro, cabeza, hombro súper agresivo, puedes medirlo así. ¿Ok? De la cabeza a este hombro. Este es hombro, cabeza, hombro. Este es más bajo, este es más, este es más alto y este es más alto que este. ¿Cómo medimos ese movimiento? Y ahí les va. Acá. Vamos a decir que esto rompe por acá. ¿Qué les parece aquí abajo para no ser tan agresivos? Esto se va a 169, un máximo en este par, y esta movida hacia acá debería destruir absolutamente todo riesgo. Lo que va acompañado con mi teoría de que el dólar, una vez que encuentre este suelo, va a tener un rebote muy agresivo a la alza, y este rebote agresivo a la alza, lo pueden ver acá, empezó en mayo del 2021. En realidad, eso llegó al fondo acá en enero del 2021, pero digamos mayo del 2021 y la movida se presentó hasta acá, septiembre del 2022, literalmente un año y cacho subiendo el dólar, y eso fue lo que hizo que el mercado bajara agresivamente una vez que entramos por encima de esta línea en los 102. Una vez que fuimos de 102 a 114, eso fue lo que destruyó la bolsa. Estamos intentando regresar un poco igual. Entonces, aquí es donde tienes tu nivel en el mercado. Arriba de los 102 para acá, sabrás si este probablemente es un movimiento que haga por acá. Acá y todo el mundo te equivocapito en la boca y en el culo a todo el mundo que no se lo esperaba. Vamos con la que sigue, Oclo, y ahí lo tienen, ahí tienen lo que estamos viendo en las tablas de Forex en este momento. Vámonos con Oclo, la empresa de Sam Altman que me está haciendo más dinero. Es ridícula. Let's go, señor.
Scam Altman.
Scam Altman, bringing the money into my pockets. And I appreciate him.
It's only a scam if I'm not involved.
Exactly. But when I'm in it, it's legit as fuck. I'm a genius too.
On the 2-week, we're getting to very extreme levels on both the momentum and the volatility, both sitting at 93.75%. And we are tapping getting over the 88.3%, getting into the 90% range. But noticeably, we are still heavily a good amount above over the 88.3%. That's about $65.29. Price is at about $68.44. We have 4 days and 5 hours until the closure. If we close over this 88.3%, probabilities are that we're probably going to go at this 95%, or at the very least tap it. That's sitting at around $81. And if we do tap that area and the ranges don't step up, very likely there's going to be a rejection somewhere around this zone, and we're probably going to pull back somewhere between this 88.3 and this 95%. And you can also see with momentum getting to and volatility getting to very extremes. But what you're likely going to get from there is a higher low. And the reason why you're going to get that is, one, because the trend is to the upside, and two, because you have a fresh buy signal on the jewel. And that higher low can be anywhere between the $65 zone to maybe down to about $59. And from there, it's very likely you're gonna put some grind out some type of higher low while these ranges can step up, and then you'll make another attempt to the upside. Weekly right now is very close to getting to contraction as well. Momentum and volatility sitting at about 96% on both. But you're also getting a buy signal on the jewel on the weekly. Very, very likely you're going to get a higher low. And right now, based on the weekly, as long as you're below $73.55, it's very likely you're going to get to pull back before you attempt to for $81. And now the weekly is turning into kind of a shooting star deal though as well. 5 days as well, just like the weekly, very close to contraction, also tapping the 95% range. 2 days already started the contraction on momentum and volatility. 2 days now giving you a sell signal on the jewel. And as long as you're below that 73.55 number, you're more likely than not to come back to retest somewhere around $61, which is not really that much of a pullback. It's $7 lower than where we are now. Daily as well as putting in a shooting star dildo, tapping the 97.5%. Very extremes on momentum and volatility. Very likely you're pulling back from here. And Jewel is still giving you a buy signal. Likely you're just going to flip curve around over here and maintain the bullish control zone, put in some hidden bullish divergence, and then continue up. Same thing with the 4-hour. Very extremes on momentum and volatility. Plus you're tapping the 97%. Very likely you're going to pull back from here. Now let's check on the RSI. Nothing. Monthly currently has hidden bullish divergence active. Going to be active as long as you're closing above $24.44. That's quite low. And your next move is the critical zone, which right now is at about $105. But this is a monthly chart, so that's going to take a good amount of time for it to play out. Daily currently has hidden bullish divergence. It's going to be active as long as you're closing over about $60. And your next move is the simple moving average, which is at about $80. And nothing on that one. Let's check the momentum. Monthly is freshly flipping to the upside, rejecting getting out of the bullish control zone, and flipped up as long as you're above $62.58. 2-week is also flipped to the upside, rejecting the bearish control zone, freshly getting volatility expansion, and flipped up above $32.71. That's nice to see the pivot so low. Weekly is also flipped to the upside with volatility expansion, up above $41.15. 5 days also flipped to the upside with volatility expansion above $35.57. 2 days freshly flipped up. Oh, it's about to freshly flip up, in a day and 5 hours, and will flip up as long as you're above $63 and this is $64. Daily is freshly flipped up with volatility expansion and will remain up as long as you're above $66.53. And 4 hours now freshly flipped down with volatility contraction, likely going to put in a higher low, and you are flipped down below $72.13. So the higher time frames on Oklo are extremely bullish. You are flipping to the upside freshly on the monthly and the 2-week, and you're flipped up as long as you're above $62.58. On the 2-week, you're getting fresh volatility expansion. Weekly, you're getting fresh volatility expansion. And you're flipped up on every single time frame down to the daily, but you are starting to flip down on low time frames like the 4 hours. So it is likely, as long as you're below $73.55, you are likely to come back down and retest $60 to $61. Very high probability you're going to put in a higher low based on the higher time frame divergences and momentum. And likely from there, you're going to test somewhere around $80, probably get some consolidation around 80, and then your next target is around $100. And the invalidation on all of this is getting either ticked below about $17.42 or a weekly close below $45. Aside from that, likely going to get a retest of 60 to 61, then continue up to 80.
Not bad. It's unbelievable. This fucking chart, unreal.
What was your entry?
It's actually insulting. It's around here, $8.
Jesus. Damn.
Yeah.
That's a godlike trade.
Do you want to know why?
What?
This was when I realized that at the bottom everything looked the most bearish and at the top the most. When you were looking at it, you were like, this thing is going to go to zero right here. Everything looks like shit, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, Sam Altman can't go to zero. If I know anything, is that those Bill Gates boys will always make some money. So I put the money just thinking, fuck it. I think, let's see what happens. And he just did that.
That's amazing.
And he was like the same at the top. there's just like everything. There's not a single excuse of like, this is going to go down a little bit. You just see it like, it's great. It looks great in all time frames. This is unstoppable. There's no way it's going to be flipped down. And that's when I was like,
Wow. When it hits $100, go buy a Zonda.
I actually, to be very honest with you, I haven't checked how much money I have because I'm scared. Look at Roblox too. Do yourself a favor and look at Roblox. Got to $100, dude.
Let me check that.
Just get a Bugatti Tourbillon in the Zonda.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It actually did go to the $100 mark.
Yeah,
Crazy.
It's fucking unreal. The only one that hasn't really made me rich is fucking Enovix, still playing the stupid game.
Roblox is putting in a beautiful United States pattern.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Enovix. Yeah, let's see.
And we'll see.
Right, well, it's back in the range, so that's good.
That's good. No, Enovix is just fucking playing its stupid games, but this was really good. This is one that it's
when
no, it's also
when
nuclear
that
power.
Bugatti Tourbillon comes in, I call dibs on driving it first.
You got it. You got it. Thank you, sir. Estamos viendo Oclo. Esta es una compañía de mini reactores nucleares, que es lo que está a punto de darle todo el dinero a esa tecnología. Yo sé que mucha gente cree que están deregulando lo que es energía, pero en realidad es para hacer lo que es la energía nuclear, la que te vendieron por todo el tiempo, que te dijeron que era muy mala. Esa energía nuclear que era súper mala, ahí va para arriba por la necesidad que tenemos de ella, porque es limpia, es la mejor tipo y la más eficiente de todas. Le gusta a quien le guste o no. Y si no lo crees, eres de las personas que también cree que falta agua en el mundo. Nunca han visto una foto del mundo, es impresionante. Vamos a la trimestral rápido para que vean esto. Tío Salo compró este círculo aquí abajo. Oclo ha estado en modo mega reventar. Y esta madre la compré tristemente con mi IRA. No tengo ni puta idea cuánto dinero tenga ahí. No lo voy a voltear a ver porque si no va a estar ridículo. Pero pongámoslo de la línea meme. No, eso es 11. Espérame, eso ya es insultante. Vamos a darle 9. A donde estamos, un 646%, un 6X. Nada mal. Y podemos ver que esto es desde que Sam Altman tomó el control de la empresa y ahora ha explotado a la alza. Te había puesto la vela más topera de todo el mundo, muy al estilo XRP. Lo pueden ver acá, pero tuvimos la explosión de movimiento hacia la alza. El día de hoy hicimos máximos históricos, me parece que fue en los 73.52. Ahorita lo voy a confirmar con ustedes, pero puta madre, no ha dejado de subir esta cosa, tíos. Una verdadera locura. Vamos a la mensual. Mensual, no tenemos los suficientes datos para el HPDR. Esta cosa le gusta estar en extremos. Puedes ver que continúa empujando. Habíamos tenido el cierre más alto de toda la historia en la mensual acá en los 52. Ahora estamos en 69. Básicamente continuamos empujando y empujando y empujando. El promedio del 5 pudo haber sido tu entrada del siglo en esta acción. ¿Dónde está el promedio del 9 y por qué no está puesta, tía? Espérame. Aquí está. Pero no es SMI 9. Denme un segundo. Algo se me movió por acá. No. Está bien puesto. Ok. Sí, tu entrada hubiera sido acá en el 9 y ahora acá hubiera sido en el 5. Potente, potente, potente. Continúa a la alza. Vámonos a la de 2 semanas. Y acá ya les puedo poner el HPDR. Pueden ver el patrón que hizo acá, el patrón de Estados Unidos tan famoso que nos gusta, el que es una taza y la agarradera. Básicamente es esto. ¿Qué movimiento estaríamos esperando fuera del breakout? Hasta los, damas y caballeros, listos para este número, $90. $90 con Roblox. Nos funcionó bastante bien medirlo así. Pueden ver que Roblox llegó a los $100. Nada mal. Nada mal. Ahí continuamos con esto. Voy a ponerle HPDR para que veamos cuáles son nuestros siguientes objetivos. Siguiente objetivo va a ser 81. Todo momentum en toda esta chingadera está apuntando para arriba. Todo se ve súper alcista en todas las temporalidades. Volatilidad continúa en extremos y como pueden ver puede continuar por toda la existencia de esta cosa aparentemente. Y eso es lo que sigue. Semanal nos empieza a poner una vela toperilla mamona, pero siempre y cuando estemos arriba de 67, 68, tenemos más altas probabilidades de ir a los 80, 10 que darnos una corrección, aunque una pequeña corrección a los bajos 60 no sería lo más loco que veríamos por acá. Ahí es donde está nuestro promedio del 5 en la semanal. Voy a poner la diaria para ver en qué tantos extremos diarios estamos. Sí, hoy tuvimos nuestro máximo histórico, lo hicimos en 73.55. Volatilidad continúa expandiendo ante esta alza. Estamos ya en el 97%. Si podemos romper esos $69, estamos hablando de irnos por ahí a los 80, 90 y hasta los $100. Básicamente, Oclo te va a dar oportunidad de entrada por ahí de los 60. Sí, yo pondría igual y los 57. ¿Por qué? Porque tienes básicamente acá podrías poner una línea meme en los 57 a los 56, que es donde oficialmente rompe esta vela, lo que me dice que tiene que venir a retestar. No tiene que, nada es gratis en trading, nada es dado porque sí, pero es lo que yo esperaría para poder agregar a esta posición. Yo no estoy agregando estas posiciones las compré a la verga, simplemente estoy comprando ahora. Bueno, estoy ahorrando y voy a comprar nuevas cosas, como vaya, estoy enfocado en mi portafolio en spot ahorita. Y va a dar continuación a esto. Vamos a ver cómo le damos. Pero por ahora sigue muy alcista. Lo único que no quiero ver es perder los 50 y voy a poner acá los 54. Si empiezo a perder los 54, diría que estoy completamente equivocado y esto no va a dar continuación y puede que se esté dando la vuelta, pero yo esperaría simplemente ver todas las temporalidades que esto venga, haga algo así y de continuación potente si es que da las oportunidades. Oclo, qué alcista está esta madre. Vámonos, Alex, what do you got there? Let me see.
I don't know. I don't know if you said what's next. I just see Roblox.
I did. Hang on. I sent it. Oh, take two.
Oh, TTWO.
It's T2. There you go.
Nice. All right. Let's check the daily. Nice. So we're at the spot. We're at extremity resistance. The nice part about this is we did get that BBWP reset. So this has implications now of a breakout. All we need now is just this wick high to be flipped into support. And we should be good to go up. I mean, let me see. Okay, cool. So an all-time high is brewing on take two. Even HPDR, we're in a breakout. Or about to be. So that's why this close is going to be important. For me, you just want to start seeing 238 get reclaimed. 238 would be a really good sign for me. And actually reclaiming and holding it. That could then give us the move up to the 245 region. 244.80 to 245. 5 days, well, same idea. Just need to, on all the higher time frames, you know, you're just going to need to start seeing these close, hold, and then essentially spring from this point. 5 day, if it holds above that 238, you're going to get a move up to that $254 region, which would be the top of the 38.2%. Kind of a big move, honestly. 6.42%. With what we know on daily BBWP expanding, I mean, it really wouldn't be the most absurd. That's just more around the 78.6%. It's all just going to be really dependent on 238 holding. And you'll know today if that's going to actually hold and get reclaimed. Weekly as well is very close to breaking out here. I think this could start if this weekly, well, first it'll start on the daily reclaiming 238. Holding that could lead into a really good weekly close. I mean, essentially, you get a weekly close above this 38.2%, and you're going to get that move up to that 250s. Keep seeing 250s come up. This is 61.8% right at 251. And the HBDR really is prime and nice in these environments when you're just making new all-time highs. You know, because it's easy to trade when you have past data, but when you don't, you're in price discovery mode almost. This at least can help. And there's 251 again. So it seems to me like if we can really get back above 238, hold that, it'll start on the daily today. 250s could be next. Now, where are we wrong? And where could this actually start rolling over? For me now, you just simply need to start seeing this low hold. I mean, this should be the last higher low in the 12-hour. So as long as this low is holding, it should be supported by the 21. If we even end up dumping that much, because what you're seeing is the 21's rising now well past this low. And even you see that 12-hour at 9. So it seems like to me, longs are going to be using that 229 region. It's a logical area. And this can easily be front ran if, like, let's say the daily reclaims. let's say the 38.2% shifts up, you rally up, you reject it, you close dailies under that 238, then you could just close the long because, well, the breakout idea is kind of diminishing at that point. The idea is you just need dailies back above 238 holding. But until then, I mean, it's just looking like it's now in a solid breakout, just in the midst of it. Really not looking to really trade this until we see 238 actually hold as support. Same spot. It's cool though. I mean, take two. Let me see. Because I know I was looking at this, I think, a while ago. I mean, like last week, actually. We were watching these moving averages. The 21 was a big spot for take two. Just noticed it likes to, likes to get nice bounces off there. Let me get the rainbow chart off now. It doesn't need to immediately be a reclaim, tap, and up. No, it can literally just be, you're going to play up and you're potentially going to put in a bull flag here. This would be bullish because then this can cause the ranges on the HBDR to really move. And then you might even get a bigger move up. For me, though, 250 will be the spot. I think you'll easily find resistance around like that 240s. And that's just simply based on using the all-time high. That's just logical. So you very well could form like a little channel here, bull flag before the real breakout. But on the other side of that, with BBWP finally reset, we've seen this before where once BBWP really does start moving, well, this chart does make just really big moves up. Now, I don't think this is the move up yet because even here from support, I mean, like 2 days you went up almost 19%. That was off the backs of BBWP. This was kind of a failed setup. Well, let's check that before, because I'll say that it won't look like this was anything. This will be like a 10-12% move. Yeah, and then a reset here on that move down. Boom, and started to move up. Choppy though. It is choppy because even on that reset here, yeah, it did go up, but then it reset after this rejection, 6%. So, in summary, you're just kind of waiting here. You're watching to see the daily reclaim 238. You just want that to hold now. You very well could trade within this range using the all-time high as resistance, and this wick high is support now. That's bullish, and this would form a bull flag. For me, the next objective is 250 to 252, as long as you're above 238. And you'll know this is wrong if you start closing dailies above 238 and then either losing that, so it's an SFP play, or if you start just dumping hard, taking out 230 will be a big sign for me. 229, 230 should hold. At this point, because volatility is expanding, you're in breakout mode, you're already well above the moving average. You already have a few places of buffer where you'll be wrong before the stop loss even hits, i.e. the 4-hour median, the meme line, or even the 9. For me, though, 239, 238, 238 remains the big spot. 238 is going to be the spot that needs to absolutely hold at this point. You're watching all lower time frames to really just watch the reaction. You already got a 2-hour above it. You've never had a 2-hour above that, so that's a good sign. Yeah, you've never had that. So, 2-hour isn't a breakout. BBWP still firing off. Just implications on the daily that this is bullish. And this is more of like a hopium scenario, but just the way like the 4-hour, the lower time frames and daily is, this really could just start breaking all-time high and possibly even make an all-time high today. Once you break this 241, the next objective will be right around that 245. And then, yeah, it's more specifically 244.58. You break that, then you get that 251. But for me, the easy trade will lie around 238 throwback. You'll be gauging that on a daily, and then ideally the weekly, it'll bleed into the weekly and the 2-week, leading to that weekly breakout. But everything now on all time frames is pressing the top of the 38.2%. You have the weekly, you have the 2-week already breaking out unconfirmed again in 4 days. What about the monthly? Monthly is in breakout as well. You could see this 38.2% shift right around that 238. That'd be great confluence. Okay, and then that's when it stops. And the weekly pressing the 38.2%. 15-day is already in breakout. 2 days pressing. So my point being is that this is really close to a breakout. That's why respecting the levels and really watching 238 and 240 will be. I think it'll be wise to do that, because it's like you're either just going to SR flip here, back test, go up to that 240, reclaim this wick high into support. That'll be your move up to the 250s into this week, next week. So yeah, that's all I have on the chart. Very simple. It's all just going to lie at 238. You either going to get a short on that reclaim, and then you're going to have an SFP play if you lose it, or you're actually going to reclaim it, hold it, scale longs there using 230 as your stop, and you're simply gauging the next move to like 250s. So
beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, senor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna do the NASDAQ now, boys. People want to know. People want to know. By the way, so we know for a fact that Bitcoin is leading the market because, and I'm assuming you guys know, but I'm going to show you. I'm just going to fucking show you for no reason, just because I want to look very important. Okay. Let me do it. No. It was that either fucking chart. 1 second. So we talked about that V recovery with all-time highs, right? We did it on Bitcoin first. And then the NASDAQ, for example, or the S&P 500, V recovery and all-time highs coming, along with S&P 500. I just think this is important for all of us to take home. V recovery, all-time highs loading. So that would be a nice blow-up top finish. So Bitcoin is telling us that it's leading the market right now. Important to know, I think. Because if you see it come down first, don't go, it's decorrelated. Just know that the stock market will also follow suit. Anyways, let's go look at T2. Así es. Y para ustedes también es muy importante entender esto, jefes. Pueden ver la recuperación en B que ha tenido la bolsa. Ese es el SP500, el NASDAQ, lo mismo. Esto nos quiere decir que Bitcoin está liderando el mercado. ¿Ok? Ya lo vieron acá. Y ahora vamos a ir a buscar estos altos históricos. ¿Por qué lo digo? Porque Bitcoin ya lo hizo. Se ha puesto sencillito. Tienen la misma fotografía justamente de acá para acá, pero ya hicimos altos históricos en Bitcoin. La bolsa, yo espero esté haciendo lo mismo. Es idéntico el movimiento, es la B. Y vámonos para acá. Así que cuando escuchen otra vez que vean que Bitcoin está cayendo y la bolsa se esté quedando arriba y alguien te diga, Bitcoin se descorrelacionó, solamente tienes que saber que no, que simplemente va adelantado y que después cuando todo lo siga va a acabar viéndose igual, porque a fin de cuentas riesgo es riesgo, y quien no lo crea se va a quedar como tonto. Vámonos a Take-Two, damas y caballeros. Take-Two Interactive, que es la empresa que está haciendo Grand Theft Auto, una empresa bastante alcista, una empresa que tiene track record, damas y caballeros. Aquí lo tienen. Denle 30 minutos a mi tabla para cargar, que es lo que se tarda normalmente cualquier tabla, todo el mundo lo sabe. Okay, denle otros 50 minutos, listo. Aquí tenemos Take-Two Interactive, vemos que esto salió a la venta en el 97 y desde entonces ha creado demasiados nuevos altos históricos, una tabla bastante alcista. Estamos a punto de ver el cierre más potente trimestral de toda la historia en los 14 días, 4 horas. Tenemos aparte de eso un setup de volatilidad al estilo del mejor aliado de Estados Unidos y el más amado. Lo pueden ver lo explosivo que es a la alza, al igual que ellos. Así que estamos yendo para arriba y va a continuar para arriba. Volatilidad, le gusta ir hasta el 100%. La hemos visto antes quedándose cansada en el 77%. Eso quiere decir que le falta más de 20% mínimo de movimiento. Tiene más probabilidad de ir a ver eso. Vamos a ver si es cierto. Por ahora, esto continúa siendo alcista y además nos está dando un patrón de tasa y agarradera, pero le decimos aquí en este canal patrón del Estados Unidos. Este patrón de Estados Unidos tiene un movimiento medido, ya se los había dado la vez pasada y todavía no ha cambiado nada, hasta los $338. Ahí es donde yo les firmé as, no es culo, también quiere decir culo, pero es Alejandro Salomondrín. Como mucha gente que no me conoce dice, hola Alejandro Salomondrín, he estado viendo tu contenido por no sé cuántos años. Qué gusto conocerte, Salomondrini. En fin, Take-Two Interactive continúa ese camino a máximos históricos. Podemos ver por acá, estamos por encima de la media, vamos a ir a cazar este 61.8% en los 250 y una vez que podamos domar esos 250, 300 va a ser nuestro siguiente objetivo en la trimestral. Mensual, ¿qué esperaríamos de la mensual? Probablemente un poco de lo mismo, vamos a ver la volatilidad, de que todo esto cargue perfectamente. Volatilidad nos había dado un setup igual de nuestros aliados más amados en Estados Unidos, que estamos dispuestos a ir a la guerra y a donde sea por ellos y darles todo nuestro dinero. Tenemos ese setup que ha sido a la alza, explosivo también, igual que todos los países alrededor de ellos. Y estábamos a punto de tapear el 50% que está en los 246. Nos gustaría no perder en la mensual los 236, de no perder los 236. Vamos a tener una más alta probabilidad de ir a los 263, que es el 61.8%. Y pueden ver que el 95% de esta tabla para justamente con mi línea meme en los 337, 338. Así que agregando un poco más de confluencia al análisis mamalón. Voy a borrar esta línea. Vamos a ver acá qué tenemos por acá. Estamos por encima de todos nuestros promedios, creando altos más altos. Vamos a ver si podemos romper este alto histórico. Volatilidad comienza a expandir una vez más. Y ante esta expansión de volatilidad, ¿qué nos encontramos? Belongos verdes, damas y caballeros. Esos belongos verdes son los que dan continuación a este movimiento por acá. Lo que vemos es que se vino a agarrar después de rebotar en la media a la parte alta de la zona azul. La parte alta de la zona azul ha sido penetrada, como tu tía Lolita en cualquier funeral. Es que, güey, se deja de todos. Y una vez que podamos aguantar los 237, el siguiente objetivo deberían de ser los 250. Y eso sería el principio de esto. Queremos romper este alto histórico y esto eliminaría esta vela topera. Esta vela topera está en 240.78. Cualquier cierre arriba de 240.78 invalida la vela topera y eso nos pone una vez más textura muy alcista. En la de 2 semanas tenemos esa expansión de volatilidad que ya habían visto. Vamos a la semanal. Vamos a ver qué tenemos por acá. Denle 30 minutos a mi tabla en cargar, que todo el mundo ha estado llevándose dinero en estas cosas. Ahora podemos ver el rebote en la parte alta de la zona azul, en el 32.2%. Estamos justo acá, rebotando. Nos gustaría poder cerrar arriba de 240.60. Eso nos pondría en camino a los 250 una vez más. Y acá, importante, 227, 226, la zona no perder en la semanal. Además de que tienes esta expansión de volatilidad acá abajo, viniendo de la parte más baja, pero no nos dio un setup de nuestros amigos y aliados más hermosos en todo el planeta. Acá, aunque haya entrado acá, hasta acá no pasó ¿cómo se llama? El promedio y por ende este setup de volatilidad que aún así que va a la alza no es de aquellos todopoderosos. Por ahora esperaríamos poder aguantar mínimo la zona de los 226. Si es que hay algún movimiento de bajada, esa sería la zona importante aguantar. De no poder aguantarla, el 215 y de acá, si pierdes el 215, muy probablemente este movimiento sería un SFP que te está engañando, pero no lo creo simplemente por toda la volatilidad y todos los movimientos que te está enseñando esto. Vamos a ver. Vamos a ver, por la volatilidad, por momentum, todo apuntando para arriba, todo fuerte, todo duro. Ya cargó la diaria. Diaria, justamente estamos acá peleándonos con la parte alta de la zona azul. Queremos romper ese 239 y poder lanzarnos a los 244. Una vez que veas 244, empieza a activar los 250, 250, 268, 270 y fácil para invalidar esto. La parte baja de la zona azul está en 226. 226 es donde yo me pondría hipioso acá, pero por ahora bastante sencillo. Take-Two todas, incluyendo la diaria, tiene setup de volatilidad que está apoyando movimiento a la alza junto con momentum apuntando para arriba. Eso nos dice que esto se ve alcista de madre y lo único que tenemos que romper es este máximo de 240 para que se destape la cosa. Podríamos venir a apoyarnos en los 226. Sería oportunidad de entrada esta línea por acá. Esta sería tu mejor oportunidad si es que llega a tocar para acá para dar continuación, pero tiene cara que ya está rompiendo y va a dar continuación. Y si llega a romper, tienen que tener en cuenta que esto sería tu nueva zona de breakout y aquí es donde vendrías a retestear los 240 después de y para arriba. Ahí lo tienen más claro ni el agua, damas y caballeros, con un objetivo arriba de los $300. TTWO se ve potente. Sir, we're ready for NASDAQ. The NASDAQ.
All right, I'm going to start with 6 month because it's one of the few charts that you have enough data for. Do a 6 month.
Look at you, fucking baller.
Look at us. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me.
Not me either. Not me either.
So you're getting right to the bottom of that 38.2%, where every single time you reclaim at 38.2%, where it's been a while since we have even deviated 38.2%. On the 2022 bear market bottom, we did not go below the 38.2%. On 2018, we did not go. On the COVID crash, we did not go below the 38.2%. The last time we went below the 38.2% was in 2008. That's very, very interesting that our current decline wick from the quote-unquote tariffs went to a similar level below the 38.2% that the 2008 great financial crisis did. That's pretty funny. It went all the way down in 2008 to about the 61.8% level. That's basically where we went to now, right just below the 61.8% level. Pretty funny. And then when we reclaimed 38.2% like we did right over here, we went all the way to the top of the 38.2% pretty fast. Right now, we are going to reclaim the 38.2% as long as we're over 21,746. We are currently at 22,000. So if we do close over that level, we are very likely going to go to the top 38.2%, which right now sits at about 27,380, which is significantly new all-time highs. From our current all-time highs, that is about 22% up, and 20% is the definition of a bull market in traditional markets. So if NASDAQ is in a bull market, what's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin usually follows the NASDAQ. Right now, momentum is pointed to the downside, but it is approaching the bullish control zone, and this is where it likely does flip up. And this candle is going to close in 14 days and 5 hours, very likely flipping back to the upside. And then the party starts, because last time 6 months flipped to the upside was back in July of 2018, and then it stayed on upside momentum for a move of about, 188% to the upside. In traditional markets, that's pretty crazy. The jewel has now lost the sell signal and flipped into a neutral signal. The last time the jewel lost the sell signal, flipped into a neutral, was in January of 2020, and the market went literally straight up from there. It had no pullbacks and just went straight up. Quarterly is now very close to flipping back up, getting back into the bullish control zone. Volatility is now about to start expanding once again. Very likely it's going to confirm with any close over 22,319. Very, very, very close to that level. And we're significantly over that 38.2%. We just need to close over the 61.8% level, same level as this previous wick high. And that's going to take you probably somewhere around the 88.3 to the 97.5 that we did right over here. And that puts you at about 26.6 to about 27.8. Very, very significant new all-time highs. Monthly is now back over the moving average, back up on momentum. More volatility is very close to starting to expand, and we're back over the 38.2%. Right now, the counterpoint though is that the jewel is giving us a hell of a sell signal, with the pink crossing below the yellow in the bullish control zone, very high in the bullish control zone, and you've got the sell signal confirmed. So the only way to really invalidate this is you need to get a close over this 38.2%, which actually the median would do. And the median is basically currently sitting at all-time highs. So it doesn't really help you that much saying you have to close over your all-time highs to invalidate that sell signal. That's basically what you would have to do. Close over your all-time highs, and then you can invalidate that sell signal. So until you do close a monthly above your current all-time highs, more than likely the sell signal is going to play out and this is going to be bearish. Because this is very strong possibilities. Let me just draw my little Picasso tool as you make a little test of this area. And then you come down here, you retest that, then you just fucking nuke. That is possible. Two-week is getting pretty high up on momentum, getting into the bullish control zone. Volatility is now expanding from 0%, and you have a fresh buy signal on the jewel, and you're putting in hidden bullish divergence. Somewhere around this 78.6%, which is our current all-time highs, is likely going to be resistance. If you can get a closure over that area, then you're going to get some busting action. Weekly is now starting to flip down. Very interesting. Well, volatility is contracting, so there's some hopium currently. If we can get a closure over the 78.6%, which is our current all-time highs, then we should see a nice 50 green dildo into somewhere around 24,000. If you reject your current all-time highs, then you're going to get a nice little pullback. 5 days are also starting to contract on momentum and volatility. 2 days getting to the bullish control zone. This is the area where you could reject and start to flip down. The way to not flip down on momentum and to make its way back into the bullish control zone is to close over this 38.2%. The 22,145. If you can get a close over that level, then you're likely going to go somewhere around this 78.6%, which is new all-time highs at about 22.8. The jewel is also giving you a confirmed buy signal by giving you a closure on the buy signal in the critical zone. Daily is also starting to flip up into getting into the bullish control zone with volatility expansion from extreme lows, and you're getting over well over the 38.2%. Last time the 38.2% is at 22,000. Last time we closed over it was about right here, and we went up to the 88.3%. Right now, the 88.3% is sitting at the same 22.8 level, new all-time highs. 4 hours also flipped to the upside in the bullish control zone, getting a little extreme, however. It lines up with getting to the 88.3%. If we close below this 88.3%, we're likely to come back down to retest 22,000. Close over this 88.3%, then you're probably going to go into 23,000. Now let's check the RSI. Six months is putting in hidden bullish divergence. Pretty safe to say it's already confirmed because you have done how much of a move off the lows? About 107%. Your next target would be the critical zone, which right now is at about 25,000. 3 month currently has 3 drives, or no, more than 3, I believe. Let me zoom in. 1, 2, 3, 4 drives of bearish divergence on the quarter.
Quattro.
Yeah, Quattro drives, but it's very close to invalidation. It's going to be invalidated with a close over 22,319. And if it does get invalidated, you'd have a target of the critical zone, which then sits at about, this is going to update because it's a little crazy, 38,988.
Kathy, there you go. There you are.
This is going to update in 14 days.
Fuck.
Come on. Let's go. Monthly has confirmed a drive of hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing above 16,460. Your next move is the critical zone, which currently sits at about 26,000. A little bit more realistic. 2 week as well. Many drives of hidden bullish divergence. Going to be active as long as you're closing above 16,460. And your next move is the bullish control zone, which currently sits at about 24K. Nothing. Daily is about to put in another drive of hidden bullish divergence. It's going to confirm with a close over 21,915. And your move off of that is the critical zone, which currently sits at about 23,440. Nothing there. Now let's check the momentum. Six month is freshly flipping to the upside on momentum, maintaining the critical zone, and it's going to be flipped up above 15,350, which we are a good amount above right now. We're like 50% above that area. Quarterly is currently flipped to the downside, very close to flipping back up, and it will flip up above 22,130, which we are above at this moment. Last time we freshly flipped up on the quarterly we did a pretty decent move. That was about 49 to 50% to the upside. And then the time before we flipped up, we did about 115%. Safe to say we're going to do some nice busting action if we can flip this back up. Monthly is freshly flipped back up, maintaining the bullish control zone, with volatility now sitting at extreme lows, and we are flipped up above 21,650. Pretty nice to see momentum freshly flipping up on the monthly and the 6 month with volatility sitting at extreme lows. And I believe we tested right down to, where was it? Front round is 21 EMA, which has been our major bottoming area on every single major bottom. 2022 bottom, 2020 bottom, 2018 bottom, every single one has been at this 21 EMA. 2 week is also flipped to the upside with volatility expansion, flipped up above 18,200. Weekly as well as flipped to the upside with volatility expansion, flipped up above 20,980. 5-day also flipped up above 20,580. 2-day also freshly flipped up above 21,990. And we're about to be at extreme lows on volatility. Daily also freshly flipped up, about to get volatility expansion too. And we're going to be flipped up above 22,105. Very interesting to see momentum freshly flipping up in volatility at such extreme lows after such a nice move up. Volatility basically just reset off of this sideways and up. And 4 hours now also flipped to the upside with volatility expansion, and then will be flipped up above 21,750. So the high time frames on NASDAQ are looking insanely bullish, which spills over good news for crypto because crypto usually follows the NASDAQ. And NASDAQ is getting momentum freshly flipping up on the 6 month. You're getting momentum flipping up on the quarterly, on the monthly. You're getting volatility sitting at extreme lows on the monthly with momentum starting to flip up on the 2 week. You're getting volatility at very low areas. You're getting hidden bullish divergence on the 6 month. You have on the quarterly. The monthly is invalidating the bearish divergence. All the way down to the daily, even the 4 hours going to be flipped up momentum, looking like you're probably going to go from here into somewhere around 23 to 24,000 before your next consolidation and pullback. Invalidation of this is going to be getting any close below about 22,000. If that happens, then you're probably going to get a retest of somewhere around like 20,000, 20,500. And then that would put in another higher low, put in some hidden bullish divergence, and then get a move to the upside. But right now, because all of your momentum is pointed up, there is a higher chance of getting that move to 23 or 24,000 first. And the invalidation of the long-term move, the bullish long-term outlook is going to be getting any weekly close below about 16,460. If that happens, then very likely this is going to break down and you're going to go to pretty nice new lows. You're probably going to break this current wick low at about 16,000. Probably going to break the 2022 low then at about 10,000. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think you're probably going to go into somewhere around 23s, 24s, consolidate, maybe get a little bit of pullback, and then continue breaking to new all-time highs. But that's what the NASDAQ does. Just goes to new all-time highs.
That's right. Over time, I mean, if you're just picking the best performing companies, there's no way it can go down, kind of, unless all companies become European companies, and then yes, you can absolutely
betting against the NASDAQ or the S&P long-term is betting against America, which is stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. Motherfucking. Let's get this. And for Alex, well, I don't know where he's at, but after we'll do Coinbase and XRP for Mr. Garlic Bread. Ok, estamos viendo el NASDAQ, los futuros del NASDAQ, NQ1 con exclamación. NQ1 con exclamación son los futuros del NASDAQ, es CME, ya saben, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, damas y caballeros, lo que estamos tomando exactamente acá. Y el NASDAQ, tal cual como lo habíamos mencionado hace poco, ¿qué es lo que está haciendo? Perfilándose para crear nuevos máximos históricos después de esta gran recuperación.
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Hit me.
But if you're using low time frames on this, you're gonna need to get the membership to get live data, otherwise you're gonna be delayed.
I'm pretty sure I don't have that. Let me see. Where you at? How does it look compared to mine?
I'm at, on the 4-hour, 22,170.
So I'm absolutely don't have it. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for telling me.
It's not expensive though. It's like $8 a month.
Would you send me what option it is? Because I've been trying to get it for a long time and I just keep fucking up, and I'm pretty sure I have like a billion other options. Thank you. Just not this one. Thank you. Vale.
And that'll also give you the data for Bitcoin futures as well for CME.
Oh, fucking sweet. Look at me, huh? Fucking getting better at operating in this world. Jesus Christ. Who would have thought? Not my mother. Not at all. All right. Vamos a empezar con esto. Este es el NASDAQ y lo que me acaba de decir Farhan es no tengo toda la última información tabla, pero pueden ver que estamos perfilándonos para el cierre trimestral más grande de toda la historia. El cierre más grande de toda la historia lo habíamos logrado en 21,259. Estamos en 22,187 y a punto de crear ese nuevo máximo histórico que literalmente nos habían contado. Se había descorrelacionado Bitcoin del mercado, pero ahí va el mercado a hacer exactamente lo mismo que Bitcoin. Tenemos tantos datos que podemos definitivamente tirar el HPDR para todos ustedes y ver que estamos ya en la zona del 61.8%. Una vez que nos llevamos este máximo, nuestro siguiente objetivo van a ser los 24,500. ¡Wow! ¡Wow! Además de eso, tenemos un setup de volatilidad con momentum apuntando para arriba en todas las temporalidades. Puedes ver el setup de volatilidad por acá. Impresionante. La más baja fue en el 2016, pero esta es la segunda más baja que hemos visto, que fue acá en el 2020. Eso nos dio este gran impulso. Y ahora tenemos esta, que es la segunda más baja de toda la historia, que empezó justamente en enero, que fue cuando tuvimos la gran caída y bolas para arriba. Excelente. Bien por el NASDAQ y bien por todo el mundo que está invertido en el NASDAQ, damas y caballeros. Mensual, vamos entrando en la parte azul, lo pueden ver, y además por acá podemos darnos cuenta que estamos debajo del 15%, preparando un setup de volatilidad de aquellos que nos gustan. Así que lo único que tenemos que hacer es esperar un poco a que el NASDAQ se acomode por acá y en la mensual nos dé este setup de volatilidad. Por ahora, momentum está apuntando para arriba, en lo que volatilidad se resetea y nos estamos yendo a la parte de la media. La media está en 22,847 y la parte alta en 24,050. Nada mal. 2 semanas, 8 de la mañana. Putin, Trump, Putin, Trump, Irán, Putin, Trump. Vámonos a los 22,669. Es el siguiente objetivo en esta tabla. Y de ahí los 23,453. Esos 24,500 empiezan a sonar más y más por acá. ¿Qué es lo que estamos viendo? Lo que nos gustaría poder aguantar son los 20,600, claramente una zona de confluencia que es donde está nuestra media, nuestro 21, nuestro 9, más o menos por esta línea meme, por acá, y además esta es la zona del breakout, ¿no? Tal cual, lo han visto antes, resistencia, esto quiere decir que al venir a retestear esta zona debería de aguantar para darte el siguiente movimiento para arriba. De no aguantar esta zona, estás hablando de una corrección mínima a los 18,642, que es donde está el promedio del 55. Semanal, tenemos volatilidad en todo. Está apuntando para arriba, está empujando para arriba, continúa haciéndolo desde acá y vamos a buscar ese 88.3% en los 22,636. El 95% está en los 23,778 y el 97 en los 24, casi 25,000 para el NASDAQ. Diaria tenemos un setup de volatilidad que está a punto de romper literalmente a través del promedio. Una vez que nos llevemos esta línea blanca y esto continúe, podemos considerar que esto está expandiendo y está expandiendo a la alza, como lo pueden ver por acá. En la diaria, viendo dónde estamos comparados con la semanal, que tenemos bastante camino a esos 22,500 hasta los 22,800, 23 es el 95%. Tiene cara de que todo va viento en popa. Pueden ver que aquí abajo el 78% es también donde está mi promedio del 100 y el 200, SMA 200. ¿Esto qué me quiere decir? Que efectivamente esta zona debería de aguantar. la zona de los 20,659. Por ahora no tiene cara de que vaya a venir a hacer una corrección, pero acuérdense que un buen tuit del presidente Trump nos puede poner en cualquier lado. Desde que empezamos y rompimos aquí a la alza el 25 de abril, hemos estado por encima del 21 y el 21 no lo hemos siquiera tocado una sola vez. Los 21,495 es donde está y ahí es donde creemos habría oportunidad. Todo esto estaría mal para entrar justamente en esta zona. Diríamos que estamos mal en esto si es que rompemos los 20,636 a la baja. Si ves eso, muy probablemente, antes de hacer un nuevo máximo histórico, sobre todo, te está pintando un nuevo alto más bajo y eso pondría todo en tesitura bajista, pero por ahora es muy alcista. Creemos que la oportunidad más grande sería una entrada en el promedio del 21, en los 21,494 y te sacas la lotería a los 21,156. Por ahora, esos son los movimientos que se ven por ahora en este NASDAQ tan alcista, damas y caballeros. Vamos a darle a... What's next? It was... Fuck me. One second.
I was trying to get my Uber Eats, but he's just not here.
Coinbase.
I'll do it while Alex gets his food.
Real one. Thank you, bro.
Coinbase.
Coinbase.
This
Oh,
is a
look at
coin.
NVIDIA. Nice little breakout.
I still have
And
that long open.
Coinbase.
It's
Well,
fucking
well,
sweet.
well. Wait, did the Academy get stopped? No. Damn. All right, I'll be back, boys. I have
Who
to
is
get my-
calling me?
Not
Fuck you for
me.
calling me.
Not me.
On the monthly on Coinbase, we're getting momentum approaching the bearish control zone. Very likely you're going to flip up from this area as long as you close over the 38.2%, with volatility still in an expansion phase. And closing over the 38.2% and this meme line will give you a minimum target of going up to this median, and very more likely with moment of volatility coming from below 50%, you're probably going to go to the top 38.2%, which is right around your current all-time highs at about $400. This is the area where we were trading in about, I think it was about 370, 380, where Jim Cramer was like, I like Coinbase for 450. And then they just down only. We just need Jim Cramer on this area to say I like Coinbase for $70, and then we can just go to the upside.
Come on, Jim.
Momentum on the 2 week is getting back into the bullish control zone. Last time we broke freshly into the bullish control zone was right about here, and then we tapped all the way up to the 95% at that point. 95% currently sits at about $330. Is that our median? Very close to it, a little bit above our median. Weekly as well is getting back into the bullish control zone. Volatility is very close to an expansion phase, and we're close to getting a buy signal on the jewels above the pink to cross above the yellow, and lines up with getting over this meme line. 5 days getting right to the edge of the bullish control zone. This is the area where it will flip up, especially if you close over this meme line, and then we can get a nice move into the 95, 97.5%. Sits somewhere around $400. Very beautiful. 2 days now starting to flip back up on momentum, putting in hidden bullish divergence by going below all of these lows and putting in a higher low. Lines up getting over the meme line and the median, and very likely you're going to go to somewhere around that mid threes at that point. And it comes from with volatility sitting at extreme lows. Daily as well, starting to flip back up with volatility expansion, and we're losing the sell signal on the jewel, but we do have a pink crossing below the yellow. Very likely that will be invalidated if you do close above this 38.2% at about 259. That takes you up to about mid threes, low to mid threes, like 330 to 350. 4 hour as well is getting momentum flipping back to the upside. The 4 hour didn't put in bullish divergence because we are in a downtrend on the 4 hour. So it's not possible to put in hidden bullish divergence, but if you were to close over this 38.2%, then you're likely going to get some busting action to like 330 to 350. Let's check the other side. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing. Daily is about to put in a fresh drive with hidden bullish divergence. Interesting. And it will confirm with any close above $243.20. And that will give you a move with volatility sitting at many periods of 0%, very likely into the minimum bullish control zone and then more likely the critical zone. The bullish control zone is at about $300, $298, and the critical zone currently sits just above our $400 area. This is currently at our new all-time highs, just or slightly new all-time highs at $416.60. And 4 hours now confirmed bullish divergence with many periods of 0% volatility expansion, and your critical zone currently sits at about $336. Very interesting, right around that low to mid 300s. Now let's check the momentum. Coinbase is freshly getting volatility expansion on the monthly from about 25% with momentum close to flipping up, not quite flipped up just yet. It will flip up if you can close above $289.81. If you don't flip up on this monthly, your projection is on this next open, you're going to be right at the edge of the bearish control zone, and at that point, the pivot likely goes down. 2 week is already starting to flip up on momentum, and it's going to be flipped up above 165. Weekly is also flipped up, it's going to be with volatility expansion, and it's going to be flipped up as long as you're above 228. 5 days also flipped up with volatility expansion, going to be flipped up above 221.70. 2 days about to freshly flip up with volatility sitting at 0%, and it will flip up if you close above 258.90, which you're about $2 away from right now. Daily is freshly flipped up with a derp of life, and you're at many periods of 0% volatility, and you will flip and you will remain to the upside as long as you're closing over 247.50. And 4 hours now freshly flipped up with volatility expansion for many periods of 0% with a derp of life, and you are flipped up above $248.17. So the high time frames on Coinbase are still flipped to the downside, but it is flipping into more of a bullish posturing, especially since you've reclaimed all of your major EMAs on the monthly. Momentum is likely to flip back up on this close, or at the very or more bearish situation, flip back up at the most on the next close, because you're approaching the bearish control zone. At that area, momentum likely does, or the momentum pivot likely does go down significantly. Right now, the two week has already front ran that, and it's already started to flip up. The weekly is flipping up with volatility expansion. Every single time frame is now flipping to the upside. Doesn't make it look more likely you're going to approach that resistance somewhere around low to mid 300s. Lines up with your bullish divergence targets at about $330 to $350. And probably get some type of consolidation and pull back at that point, and then I'd expect to move into tapping your current all-time highs in the $400 area. The invalidation of all of this is getting either a tick below about $142 or getting a weekly close below about $193. Aside from that, you're probably going to tap somewhere around 330 to 350, get some consolidation, and then tap your current all-time highs in the 400.
Yeah, I'll be tapping those motherfucking levels. What's up, Chris? I know Chris, a friend of mine just messaged me. He goes, "Is that you on your YouTube channel, or did someone steal it?" No, that's me. Unfortunately, that's me. With
yeah, we're tapping all those levels together.
We're tapping all these levels at this moment.
You're gonna tap them good. Show the courtroom on the doll where you got tapped.
Let me let me show you where I got tapped. I got tapped in this one. Right?
You got tapped like that.
Here. All right.
Coinbase tapped me right there.
Damn it, Coinbase. All right, let's present. That's the one. So Alex is going to be Mr. Garlic House today, huh? Okay.
Seems like it.
Seems like it. Perfecto. All right. Quarterly. I know. Trimestral. Sorry. Sorry, Chris, if you're watching. Now I'm going to do this in Espanol. That's my job, because these guys are the ones that know what the fuck they're doing. And I just translate it. In this way, when they fuck up, no one comes and complains to me. Farhan's like, wait, what? Bulletproof. Wow, this consolidation's incredible. Man, United States pattern. So once we break out, $500. Wow.
That's nice.
Okay. Yeah, it is very nice. Pueden ver, Coinbase se ve alcista de a madre. Estamos en el trimestral, que es lo que estamos notando instantáneamente, que Alejandro tiene muchas líneas. Más allá de eso, podemos ver el famoso patrón de la taza con la agarradera. Y déjenme lo dibujo un poco más por acá para que se vea más bonito. Esto, la consolidación está por acá y esto es el principio, el fin. Y recuerda, la tasa es plana, la parte alta es donde lo sabemos, es justamente esta. Y se mide de la parte baja a la parte más alta y cuando lo medimos de la parte baja, y recuerden, esta es una vela trimestral, son velas trimestrales, a la parte más alta ponemos esto acá y esto nos pondría, digamos que rompemos a la alza en objetivo de $500 con altos históricos, etcétera, en Coinbase. Nada mal. Nada mal. Y esto probablemente pase rápido, igual que el blow off top que estamos platicando de lo demás. ¿Por qué? Cuando volteamos a ver la mensual, podemos ver que tenemos un setup de volatilidad a la alza. Esto nos debería llevar tranquilamente a estos 302 una vez que rompamos los 265 y con este setup de volatilidad a la alza en la punta, en el punto más bajo de toda la historia, podríamos decir literalmente que esto va a mega reventar, porque es el punto más bajo de toda la historia en cuanto a volatilidad se refiere. Estamos pasando por el promedio y bolas a la alza. Bien, eso es lo que nos gusta ver. Estamos por encima de nuestro promedio del 9, nuestro promedio del 5, 21, 34, todos en orden. Esto es bastante, indica fuerza en el precio. Además de esto, estarías creando un hombro-cabeza-hombro, pero no me voy a meter en eso todavía porque estaría adelantándolo en la mensual mínimo y no vale la pena. 2 semanas, 8 de la mañana, 34 minutos. No tenemos absolutamente nada en volatilidad. Nos vamos a quedar acá en la de 2 semanas y les voy a prender el HPDR para que también puedan verlo justamente acá. HPDR 95% se encuentra aquí arriba, estamos justamente por encima, rebotando por encima de la zona azul, lo que nos debería dar un objetivo de 285 como siguiente. Ahora sí que ese sería nuestro siguiente objetivo. Una vez que estemos ahí arriba, ya podemos empezar a voltear a ver los $300, pero por ahora el primer obstáculo que vamos a tener va a ser los 265 con esta línea meme que es tan importante. Esta es una zona muy importante para el precio de Coinbase, porque una vez que rompes con certeza y con fuerza, se gana. No es así. La canción de Francia. Pero una vez que rompes este nivel, puedes ver, nos lleva a la parte alta de este canal, por lo que estamos esperando a romper esos 266 a la alza en Coinbase. Semanal, estamos ante una expansión de volatilidad, pero ahora contracción más o menos, no tenemos nada tal cual como se ve esto, se ve eso, pero ¿esto qué es? Una bandera alcista. Tienes el cruce plateado de continuación, lo que dice que la oportunidad grande de agregar a tu posición serían los 240 y la parte alta del 61.82% está en los $281. 281 nos pone ya en nuestro siguiente objetivo por estos 300 y rompiendo los 343 sería lo siguiente. No queremos perder esta zona en 230. 230 a la baja sería un golpe algo letal, pero esta diagonal que viene alcista normalmente la toca cada vez que va a tener un movimiento fuerte como este. Puede que ya se haya dado y lo único que veamos sea un throwback aquí a los 238. Esa sería oportunidad A y oportunidad B acá, si es que se llegan a dar. Pero Coinbase en todas las temporalidades se ve bastante alcista. En la diaria está creando un setup de la gente que más, de nuestro aliado militar más importante en toda la historia que queremos, llamamos, y está no expandiendo, todavía está entre 1, 2, 3, 4 periodos de cero volatilidad. Está en 1.59%, preparando el movimiento a la alza. Lo que tenemos que romper 260, rompiendo 260, podemos empezar a voltear a ver a los 266, de ahí a los 300 y para arriba. Bastante fácil puesto para ustedes. Las mejores oportunidades para Coinbase para poder agregar a la posición están en los 238 y la segunda y última por ahí de los 230. Abajo de los 230, olvidémonos, esto simplemente fue esto y va para abajo. Pero por ahora, como todo está apuntando para arriba, tenemos setups de volatilidad y además momentum está apuntando a la alza. Todo esto nos debería de simplemente hacer esto, ir acá y continuar dando niveles para arriba e ir a buscar esos $500, sobre todo si estamos viendo que Bitcoin nos va a llevar a los 130, 150 mil dólares. Deberíamos estar esperando un poco en lo mismo en todo esto, básicamente en Coinbase, que sería un 2X de donde estamos ahorita. Que irá en línea con todo lo demás. Ahí lo tienen. Vámonos a ver XRPP. Damas y caballeros.
Let's check out the PP.
Let's see your
Okay.
XRPP.
All
It's
right.
unfortunate. For all my friends that are watching this that used to respect me, I'm kidding. I don't have any friends that respect me. They know me.
Neither do I.
Exactly. Good for us.
Same.
No pressure.
No. So XRPP is looking good. I remember back in December, what was it? Or yeah, December here, when we had broken out, I had simply drawn a meme line here at this wick high from 2021. So far, it's been working beautifully. I mean, each time we've hit this meme line, we have essentially closed above it, doing it like on a daily even. It's worked pretty well. And this shows me how strong it is. But the more times we test this, you know, it's not going to always hold. So it's more a race against time at this point for bulls. Now, for me, my objective is the daily SMA 200. The Academy and I were attempting to long last week on this move up. The objective was the SMA 200. Didn't fully get hit. We had deviated down. And I don't know why the cat's doing that. And so what do we have? Well, yeah, I don't know. Something.
That's what pussy sounds like.
It literally does, though. For all the crypto bros.
They're all like, wait, what? Let me take notes.
Wait a minute. Yeah, so XRPP is looking good, though. You have a slight price divergence here. So this is potential, you know, uptrend in the making. You just need the daily EMA 100 to continue to hold. So into this green dildo today, I wouldn't be surprised if we came back down, tested this region, but this has to hold. The EMA 100 on the daily, just like what I was saying here, is the spot. And it's not really until you lose that where you don't really want to be looking for an SMA 200 tap. But being above it absolutely makes that the next objective. And that's been moving up each close. So that now is at $2.38. Pretty big step up from this point even. I guess like 3%, nothing. But still, that's a big spot because even if you zoom out here on any chart, a daily SMA 200 is big. XRPP every time, not every time, but the majority of the bull market, when it did come back to the SMA 200, it either here lost it one time and then this was a quick trap for a bottom, or it actually just reconnected and bottomed off that, forming a hammerhead before going up. So this SMA 200 is very significant. You know, for me now, it's gonna be the big spot. Like that's the zone that bulls absolutely need to start reclaiming for an actual chance to maybe go back up to that 270s. 270s will just solidify this being in a major range, something we talked about in the beginning of this year. Delete this. And what you're noticing too is daily BBWP is starting to come, you know, expand up. Again, just good implications for the SMA 200. Let's see if the HBDR can show anything. So this is nice because you can see here, we're actually above the median. So, you know, you're either going to retest the median or the EMA 100 leading to the SMA 200. You see the breakout points at 240. So it's good confluence to me because this HBDR range could easily step up, or this SMA 200 can move up closer to 38.2%. One of these will move. But what I would like to see is the 38.2% come down. And then once we reclaim the SMA 200, that'll just be great confluence of that breakout move up. It's all really just going to lie at the SMA 200, which is similar to here. Once you got back above it and actually held, you just went upward to the right. So that's the spot. If you're a bull here, you're either looking to cover longs at this point and reopen on a reclaim, or go short here. Nice. So 2-day as well is giving you that idea that if the daily EMA 100 got a back test, it could interpret it like you're retesting the 2-day EMA 9 while also retesting support here. But again, like if we did get that move down to like $2.24, I'm not going to be extremely bearish or concerned, honestly. 3-day as well shows that idea. Throwback scenario. Easily have a low leverage play right here. There's risk managed right at this lows here. XRP is looking like it wants to go up. The only kicker is just the daily. And so once the daily really starts getting back above the SMA 200, that's when things can become fun again. 10 days also reset volatility, possibly forming like a channel here. Use this, go down. Use this and go up. It's not the cleanest, but it is there. And we are towards the end of it with volatility this low. I don't think it's absurd. We can look at the Bollinger Bands even.
Oh, they're so tight. Oh,
yeah, they are tight.
Bands.
Look at that. Even
one of those tightest they've ever been. So tight.
Oh, they're getting so tight. My God.
The passion in that.
That's
start getting uncomfortable. Someone's like, "What are you listening to?"
That's the objective. That's the objective here. I doubt any other trading. I don't know if you can call it this a show or a class, whatever the fuck it is, does anything like this. I've watched others. The people are falling asleep while they're doing it. It's like I went into this trading room, which, by the way, what a waste of $400. And the guy's like, you can tell that the main guy is not there at all at any time. He just has like another guy talking to people and he's pretending that he's there. And he's like, anyone else? Anything else we want to check? And no one replies, nothing. The worst $400 I've ever spent in my life. Let me tell you that. The worst.
Yeah. Now, yeah, at ETA, we're very versatile here. We talk about many different things. It's educational in all realms of life.
It's very educational. Thank you, Alex, for saying it. Thank you.
Of course. Well, of course. And so as tight as this is showing a move. And so a move is brewing. It's like we are at the mid band of the 10-day. And the reason I'm looking at the 10-day is because you do have a setup here. But even so, it's like, if we take look at the top of the band, it's at 297, and it's like, okay, cool. So it's like objective now for bulls is going to be just to make that move up to the 280s, 290. As long as support's holding here, I don't see that not playing out. I can make this line like a line. Here we have support at $2.20. My extremity support's at $1.96. And that so far has played out. You're now going to see the 10-day 34 creep up around there eventually, which is bullish. That's good. You'd want the 34 to reach that zone, just showing kind of the extremity of it. But yeah, no, the weekly, you're just kind of now watching this. You want to simply just reclaim support and hold it. A lot of charts were sold down. So a lot of the analysis on like the higher risk stuff makes sense. Just be kind of waiting for the back test, because as we're breaking out, you're longing, and really we've seen this before. Like we go even to the daily here, and you haven't even reclaimed the EMA 100 here. You did throw it back and test the 9 before going up, so there's no FOMO here. You're just simply waiting for this play to occur, take you to the SMA 200, either reject there, or you're gonna see this come up, you're gonna reclaim the SMA 200. This will be a major bottom sign. 280s will be next. 270s, 280s will be next. All depend on the daily SMA 200.
Do you mean 21?
Wait, what?
Do you mean 21 is next if you reclaim the SMA 200? That's what that guy said on that video. $21.
Oh, 21. Oh, well,
we need it. You know what? I think we're wasting our time here just looking at prices and going like with moves and whatever price is going to do. If we just make this channel and Farhan comes out first and he goes, Bitcoin is going to $7 million. Then you come out and say XRP is going to $33 and it's going to be the how we're going to pay for our debt. And then I come out and say whatever. I feel like we would do better. That's what George does. Literally, this is what he does. He comes out, he looks at the chart, goes, well, we know you can look at this, but as we know, Bitcoin's going to go to $7 million. So no,
this is what they do. They're like, it's a breakout, it's a bull flag. The measured move will take you up to around that
billion
$10 region. Yeah.
Well, dude, you learn so fast.
BBWP's reset. This is good, boys. $10 is like that's literally what they do.
Why so bearish? Just went at $589.
There you go. Finally, Kathy
Yeah.
Wood and George meet together and get drunk.
We're at full peak now. I mean, when we start talking about that, that's just full crypto peak when people do that, because they really do just become degenerate. And they like this is funny because someone would look at this and say that this is too long of a bull flag now, and then they give you some crazy measured move. Someone who just visually is like, yeah, I could see that. It's like, but that's not just how trading works, because it's like, well, trend is, it's kind of cautious here. Trend, you haven't even broke this wick high. And yeah, I mean, XRP can go up, of course. I don't know if it'll ever go up $10, honestly.
Have
But
you considered the trend won't matter when it's at $589?
or it's funny when things are in a downtrend, and then they call that just a complex pullback, not a downtrend. That's my favorite one. I've been in arguments. It's just a complex pullback. It's not a downtrend. Well, what's lower highs and lower lows, sir?
Pullback?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Remember that part?
Wow.
That CMG guy or whatever on Twitter. Yeah, that was funny. There was just an
It's
argument.
technically in a downtrend, but not really.
But not really. No, it's a complex pullback, of course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a complex pullback. This isn't a downtrend. You're
That's
an idiot if
crazy.
you can call that. Yeah, I know, right?
It's very complex.
Exactly. So in summary, though, to sum this up on spot, because I'll look at the Bitcoin pairing now. You're not really longing this here. You're just simply waiting for the throwback. The throwback can either test the 9, the 21, but the EMA 100 is the spot. You got to see that hold. Now, this still has 7 hours, 6 hours and 58 minutes. You've seen moves like this before, where it's like you're really high up and you're looking like a really solid close, and then it sells down. So that's why it's really important for a chart like this not to front run ideas. The only trade you can really look at is to long the throwback around this region, target the SMA 200. If you are in a long from like these lows, the objective is the SMA 200, not dump the TP there, because you're either going to just bigly reject. I'm looking at this as like a front run of that, and that dump led to a 10% move, or you're going to reclaim it, and then you'll have an easy long trigger because any manual close or any close of loss of the daily SMA 200, you can manually close your long if you take the long of the SMA 200. But like this idea would have worked. You reclaimed it, you went up. I would have still been saying, let's wait for the back test. You would have gotten it, and you would have been able to catch this whole move up. So it's really just a patience thing. I mean, you're just kind of like trying to like get out of this downtrend, trying to solidify bullish structure, but you got to get like the EMA 100 to hold and expand. This has been a big spot. Last time it didn't work, so maybe this time it will. If you do hold this EMA 100, my objective will be around 238 next. If you reclaim that 238 SMA 200 on the daily, my next objective will be 272. So let's look at the Bitcoin pairing now, because that's more important than the Tether pairing, in my opinion. And let's see where we're at.
Oh boy.
So we have a big range. I could probably draw a mid-range here. Right there. And I'll be even cheekier. I'll use this here. I'm looking at that. So we have like a mid-range now. Let's go to the daily. Oh, yeah. So this is looking quite nice. I mean, multiple sessions of zero volatility. Right there. You're now about to confirm the expansion today. You're getting that price structure shift, right? This has been just sold down for so long. March all the way down 34. Anytime the 34 gets tapped, it just bigly rejects. Granted, here was just the SFP play, and then down. So reclaiming up, above the 34 again, just kind of tells you that this is shifting. Bulls are trying to solidify a bottom here. You shouldn't really want to see this low get taken out again. And as long as we're holding specifically above the daily 9, because that's been the rejection spot, this should have a move up to that 2242 level. The nice part about this is if the daily MA 100 can come more down matching the meme line, that would give us a really nice area where if we just start reclaiming this, you then can target the SMA 200. Until then, though, the EMA 100 is a spot. So you either can come from this point, hit it, reject, hold the meme line, and then just kind of consolidate, or you do reject and it just fizzles out. But this is in the midst of a trend shift, in my opinion. Let me just double check that.
Almost.
So you got to take this high out, and then you can't take this low out anymore. And then the throwback on like the price structure shift that we want will be the higher low. So it's either going to come in around testing the 9, the 21, or if it's really strong, it's just going to hit the 34 and bounce. You'll know, though, that this is wrong if this low starts getting taken out, essentially. Because with volatility this low, and I always say this, you have to be really quick to flip-flop on ideas if things change. But until then, this is looking not the worst, actually. And it's kind of tying into our XRP analysis on spot, which is on the daily, a pullback wouldn't surprise me. And even here, shouldn't surprise you on the Bitcoin pairing. This daily 9 needs to be flipped into support. You did it once here. You lost it. You went down. So can we do it again? Test the daily 9. Now, the 5-day, when I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, well, you know, it needs a trend shift. And that's why taking this high out is important. You could literally reject here at this 5-day EMA 9, not take this wick high out, and then really roll over, leading to maybe XRP spot not closing above the daily EMA 100. So just be very understanding of where we're at. We can use the daily and the lower time frames to, you know, have a trade idea, but it's just going to be really dependent, in my opinion, on getting back above the 34 in the weekly, because you're just in a breakdown posturing when you're like this. Are you breaking down? No, but you're not getting back above support, and that's a concern because it could literally just dump to here. So for me, in summary, you're watching XRP to give a pullback into tonight, tomorrow. You want the daily EMA 100 on spot to hold. That's coming in right around potentially like 223 to 220. That has to hold. Now, XRP BTC is looking interesting because we have a major setup brewing on the daily here. You're having a shift, a price structure shift, but you shouldn't be, you know, scaling longs at resistance because you haven't even closed above the 34. The 5 days at the EMA 9. You have BBWP about to fire out, but it hasn't. We've seen this before, where it's like ever so slightly about to break out, but it does not. And that's why it's going to be really crucial to watch your levels today. Understand that this could easily come down, form a higher low before breaking this high. You would then use this low as your stop, higher low at the daily 9, and then your, you know, measured move would be around the yellow line. And that could just literally interpret like this. So for me, I'm bullish on XRP as long as we're holding the daily EMA 100s. That's it. That should then give you an easy play. And the objective will be the SMA 200. XRP versus Bitcoin is telling you that a move is brewing on the daily. And what we're seeing on spot could already possibly be happening. Right? You're getting daily BBWP firing off while the Bitcoin pairing still hasn't. And to me, I'm going to interpret that as bullish because this is looking bullish. It's shifting structure. You just need the trend shift now. Once you get the trend shift, though, you can then be more aggressive. So it's all really going to be dependent on taking out this wick high, coming back in for the higher low, and then breaking out. But XRP is looking good. And I wouldn't be surprised if 270s comes into play soon. But remember, it's just all about the SMA 200. So like I'll say it looks good, and then we'll go up to the SMA 200, reject, and then people will say, didn't you say it looked good? But yeah, we just got to get above the SMA 200.
Yeah.
To me, it's like the SMA 200 is the magnet, the easy trade. That's the easy trade from here. But like you've got to get above there for like that major bull market George move where everyone's happy and horny again. And you can actually maybe even talk about $3 again. But yeah, until then, this literally could just roll over, reject here, get everyone bullish. SMA 200 continues to hold. And let me check when we did go like pretty bare what happened. So
pretty sure above the SMA 200, that's when Kathy's wood activates.
Starts getting woody. Yeah.
Starts getting woodier and woodier.
I'll finish off with this. The point is you don't want to be the guy like this. Like, you know, you're catching right moves. You finally hit the SMA 200. You're like maybe in it long from here. You're in juicy profits. You don't close above it. And then this move, you took out the highs, but this is what led to the real move down. And that's why it's just extremely crucial for bulls to step in, actually hold the zone and reclaim it. So that's
And
all
by
I'm
the way,
gonna.
the first time you're going to be retesting it too on the daily, so that's kind of from below. So you have, in my view, you have a higher chance of getting rejected, right? Like at least the first time.
100%. And you know, bears will be even looking at this move as maybe an inverse head and shoulders here. Boom, boom, boom.
There is, yeah. You're right.
You just have to be careful. That's my point. Like XRP is looking great, but I understand that Bitcoin as well could easily go in and give us that pullback to the daily 9 at this point. And we're almost to my objective at 1085. So it's like you probably are better off waiting for today, seeing where everything closes, see if the daily 9 gets reclaimed, because let's just trade what we know. And daily 9 on Bitcoin was very strong up. This pullback then can help give me confluence to the XRP idea. And that's it. It's all going to be dependent on Bitcoin. But you're absolutely right. This was an SFP. This rejected. So this is major resistance now. And that's it. You get back above the SMA 200 on the daily, things become really fun for bulls again. XRP can really put in a major move. From that point, you literally could put in a candle 15% up. I mean, once you got back above it, just the EMA 100 here, you went straight up. So it's stronger with the SMA 200. More bearish, though, it being above the EMA 100. Means that the slower moving average is now above the fast moving average. It's bearish. So it's going to be very important to get back above there. So that's all I have on XRP, though. It kind of ties in with our Bitcoin idea. You should already be gauging a daily EMA 9 trade on today's close. And then you'll use that idea to just gauge XRP's daily EMA 100 retest, essentially.
Yes, indeed, senor. I appreciate it. Thank you. You made it fucking super easy. I'll be quick so we can get to the one last one before we gotta run.
Let's go.
Let's do this. Come on, XRPP. Give daddy all of its money. Pueden ver exactamente, estamos viendo XRP, justamente la moneda que se va a convertir en el dólar, ahora que el dólar va a colapsar, de acuerdo a todos los noticieros. Y tu Paco favorito, XRP está cotizando en $2.3 en este momento, ha tenido máximos históricos en 3.3, 3.4. ¿Te las doy exacto o no? 3.4 exactamente. Ahora, interesante, estamos viendo un gráfico diario, podemos ver que venimos de nuestro máximo histórico con justamente toda esta resistencia que nos habíamos encontrado y ahora por fin tuvimos el breakout, pero volvimos a caer a retestear esta zona. La cosa es, estamos ante una postura bastante importante. La línea morada que estás viendo acá es el SMA 200. SMA 200, damas y caballeros. Y esto, como pueden ver, una vez que lo rompimos a la alza, ¿qué ocurrió? Tuvimos ese movimiento gigantesco. Y cuando estuvimos por debajo, retesteándolo arriba, abajo, pueden ver que hemos tenido problemas. Una vez que perdimos el SMA 200, XRP se fue a ese mercado bajista. Ahora no estamos esperando, ni creyendo, ni diciendo que eso va a ser lo mismo. Lo único que tenemos que tener en mente ahora que tiene cara XRP, que va a reventar a la alza, es que va a ser la primera vez que vas a tocar el SMA 200. Desde que caíste, no lo has retesteado ninguna vez, lo que te da una más alta probabilidad de ser rechazado, mínimo la primera vez. Y queremos ver al precio quedándose por acá, continuando esta formación alcista. Y lo chistoso, inverso hombro, cabeza, hombro que estamos viendo, es que literalmente 1, 2, 3, no, es que, y digo, exageré mucho esta parte. Esto, literalmente, bueno, me mamé. Espérenme, ahí les va. Esto, literalmente, es la zona a romper. Este hombro, cabeza, hombro, tiene un objetivo. Rápido, se los pongo acá de esto. Y si lo rompemos, espérame, se los puse en el 200. Déjame, no mamo y hago las cosas bien. Bueno, más o menos. Digamos que rompes por acá, tu siguiente objetivo, ¿qué sería? 261. Y eso no te haría máximos históricos. Ahora, nada te está diciendo que ahí se frenaría, nada te está diciendo nada. Solamente eso sería el movimiento acá. Y lo chistoso es que el SMA 200 más o menos es la línea a romper. Una vez que rompas por encima del SMA 200 y te quedes por encima, deberías de tener esa expansión a 2.6. Está cotizando en 2.31. Es un movimiento bastante agresivo también dentro del precio. Además que en la diaria tienes un setup de volatilidad que se está dando justamente por acá, por encima del promedio. Lo puedes ver, ¡pum! Y esto nos está llevando por acá. Volatilidad no está continuando una expansión agresiva aunque ahora se está volteando más fuerte para arriba. Vamos a ver si puede continuar esta expansión de volatilidad a la alza. Voy a ponerla de 3 meses rápido, empezar por acá. Podemos ver, faltan 14, 17 horas para cerrar esta vela. Sería el cierre más alto de toda la historia en XRP en 2.32. El cierre más grande que habíamos tenido antes fue justamente en los $2. Y eso nos haría más alcistas. Habías tenido este setup de volatilidad que se estaba dando la vuelta, pero parece estar una vez más empezando a apuntar a la alza. Bien. Y de aquí, sobre todo poniendo el HPDR, el HPR, podemos ver cómo todo está muy chiquito dentro de este pendejo. No seas estúpido, tío. Si rompes los 2.47 a la alza, tu siguiente... ¡No! Tu siguiente objetivo serían los $23. ¡Qué estupidez tan grande! Vamos a salir de esta temporalidad. Vamos a la mensual a ver qué tenemos por acá. En la mensual estamos justamente en la zona azul, apoyándonos en nuestra media, en el promedio del 9, en el 5, y eso nos da una más alta probabilidad de ir a los 3.08. Y una vez estando en los 3.08, básicamente estás listo para volver a hacer un alto histórico. La zona a no perder, sencillo, los $2 planos. Pierdes los $2 planos, tienes una alta probabilidad de ir al 1.59 y de llevarte este mínimo, estarías en una tendencia bajista, el 61.8% en el 1.2 se volvería una realidad. Por ahora no hay nada que nos diga que eso sea el caso. 2 semanas, estamos por debajo de la media, queremos recuperar los 2.33. 2.33 nos llevaría a dar un objetivo de los 2.86. Por debajo de los 2.83, todavía faltan 6 días y 7 horas. Nuestra probabilidad más alta sería al 1.95. Interesante, 2.33, 1.85. Volatilidad está preparando un setup de nuestros aliados más hermosos y queridos en todo el mundo, es lo que parece, aunque también podría ser un setup persa a la baja. Claramente Irán está a la baja, entonces sería el cero persa a la baja si es que se llega a jugar en la de 2 semanas. Semanal, vamos a ver si nos da una... Uy, no nos dice nada y sobre todo está regresando y va a empezar a crear volatilidad nula antes de un movimiento muy agresivo a la alza o a la baja, ya sea un setup de nuestra nación más amada, socio al que le damos todo para la guerra, o un setup persa, que es que se vaya toda la mierda. No queremos perder por acá los 2.10, 2.10 deberían de aguantar y el peor de los casos los 2.03. Teniendo eso en mente, llegas a perder los 2.03 y empezamos a poner la escalerita para abajo en esta cosa. Diaria, tenemos la parte alta de la zona azul junto con el S&P 200 justamente en esta zona crítica, estamos por encima de nuestro promedio, además tenemos nuestro setup de volatilidad que ya vimos. Esto nos dice que simplemente nos tenemos que llevar los 2.33, de llevarnos los 2.33, 2.4 sería lo que sigue y tendríamos que empezar a cerrar por encima del S&P 200. Si no lo hacemos, si nada más das un flashazo, no cuenta para nada y eso literalmente estás creando un alto más bajo que este de acá en los 2.48. Y nuestro siguiente objetivo sería un bajo más bajo que los 2.05 y ahí ya nos pone ante la tesitura de los dos planos y empezar a buscar 1.95 y para abajo. Puesto sencillo para todos ustedes que están viendo esto. Aquí están viendo XRP. ¿Qué es lo que buscamos en la diaria? Estás en medio de un trade, no vas a entrar acá en long, no vas a entrar acá en short, porque todavía tienes camino para el S&P 200 estar mal acá, rechazar y caer, probablemente aguantar acá, crear un alto más alto, volver a retestearlo, romperlo y a la alza. Yes?
Sorry.
Oh.
No, sorry, I didn't know I was muted. I was yelling at my cat.
Fucking disgusting. Nah. I interrupt you all the time, but the fucking moment you do, I'm going to lose my shit.
At least it was nothing bad.
Exactly. It's like, oh no, if you want to suck my dick, we can do it later. Oh, sorry, the microphone's on. Jesus Christ. Well, anyways, offer still stands. My lady.
Oh, that's so funny.
Sorry.
I wasn't allowed that we weren't. I didn't know we weren't allowed to do that.
No, we are. It's just it's a personal preference. I know Alex is very private about his stuff. Everyone's seen my privates online, so there's nothing I can hide here anymore. There's a movie with me. It is. Yeah, just finishing this, and then we'll jump into FMI or whatever the fuck I sent on the chat for Mr. Farhan. Thank you. Y acá justamente lo único que estamos buscando, somos alcistas en XRP, Queremos retomar el SMA 200, estar ya por encima, y estas serían tus puntos para agregar. Esto sería tu zona de breakout básicamente, y lo pueden ver acá, ¿no? Si pongo una línea, justamente una línea meme acá, puedes ver que literalmente esta es su zona de breakout. Por encima, pompeos; por debajo, caídas agresivas. Así que justamente donde estás, quieres aguantar, empezar a cerrar por encima del SMA 200, dar continuación a la alza. ¿Qué nos dice si estamos mal? Llevarte todos estos SMAs a la baja y tener un cierre más o menos por ahí del 2.5, llevándote justamente 2.5 por debajo de esto, para abajo. Por arriba de esto, oportunidad de entrar en long. Lo difícil de esto es que no te está dando ninguna entrada en long en este momento, así que vas a tener que volver a reestructurar esa entrada. Lo más fácil es el corto con esta invalidación, pero suena que te van a eliminar, pero todo es posible, tíos. Todo es posible en este maldito mundo. Mr. Farham, we're ready for you, sir.
Ready. UNFI, however you pronounce it.
UNFI. Let me see what the fuck it is. I don't think I've
United
ever done
Natural
that.
Foods.
Natural foods. How natural could they be if they're having a silver cross to the downside? Not very natural, if you ask me.
Don't look too great. And probably within one closure, as long as price is below about $28.75, this is going to silver cross to the downside on the 6 month. That's not
Balls.
good. Momentum is in the bearish control zone with volatility expanding, and we've got quite the sell signal on the jewel. Not looking great. And I believe this is also a hidden bearish divergence on the jewel as well. Quarterly currently is pointing to the upside, getting right around the bullish control zone. Volatility is close to expanding, and it's giving you a nice buy signal on the jewel. It has not confirmed because you haven't gotten the closure just yet, but it will confirm as long as you're closing above about $20.60. And that buy signal on the jewel, if you can get out of the bearish control zone, likely will give you another retest at somewhere around $30. But as long as you're closing below $30, it should be seen as bearish. If you can close above $30, then you're probably going to get another retest somewhere around this 95%, around these projected highs, around somewhere like $45. And that is a more than 100% move on price action from where we are right now. On the quarterly, momentum is, and that would line up with momentum getting into the bullish control zone on the quarterly. Monthly is currently pointed to the downside, very close to the bearish control zone. Volatility is currently contracting, which is some hopium, and the monthly is firing off a sell signal right now. It has not confirmed just yet, but it likely will confirm as long as you close below the 38.2% at around $22.83. And that will likely and you're also going to lose this wick low. Very likely going to bring you somewhere around this gap at around like $16 to $17. 2 week is also freshly flipping to the downside on momentum, getting back into the bearish control zone with volatility expanding, and you're about to lose all of your major EMAs. Very likely taking you to that $17 area. Weekly is currently trying to flip back up, with the jewel still flipping to the downside, about to fire off a sell signal. This is likely going to be a bearish retest of somewhere around this 100 to 55 EMA, around like $23-ish to $24. High probability that it rejects and takes you to 17 bucks. Same idea of the 5-day with the bearish retest. 2-day as well, getting to very extreme areas on momentum and volatility. Very likely you're going to get a bounce from here, especially since you're tapping the 97% to the downside. And the jewel is now about to give you a nice sell signal with the pink crossing below the yellow. That tells you that this bearish retest is likely going to be a failure, and you're getting the silver cross to the downside on the 2-day now. So the 9 EMA lines right up with that 100 around that $24 area. Daily as well is getting to very extreme areas, starting to flip back up on momentum with volatility contraction. Daily is already giving you that jewel signal. Same bearish retest area of around 23 to 25 bucks. 4 hours as well is flipped to the upside on momentum. Volatility is contracting, telling you it's going to be a lower high, and you have a God mode buy signal on the jewel. Same idea for the bearish retest. Now let's go to the RSI. 6 month has many drives of bearish divergence. And it's going to be active as long as you're closing below $32.20. Your next move is the bearish control zone, which sits at, it's going to update, but right now it's at $6.80.
How can I short this? Options. Fuck.
We need, only options. We need BTCC to add this.
This would be an incredible short.
Monthly is about to put in the third drive of hidden bearish divergence. It will confirm as long as you close below about $25.70. Your target at a minimum is going to be the neutral zone, which right now sits at $8.93. Wow.
Oh,
2 days about to put in one drive of hidden a regular bullish divergence. It will confirm with a close above $22.09, but that will just take you to about the neutral zone, so that's about $26.50. Very, very likely that's going to update to around that $25 area. And 4 hours are also about to put in drive bullish divergence in about 3 minutes, as long as you close above $22.01. That will take you to about $24.68. Very nice price, really. Now we will check the momentum. Six month is freshly pointed to the downside on momentum. It's going to be pointed down below 37.58. 30-month, however, is pointed up with volatility contraction, so it's likely going to be a lower high, and you're pointed up above 965. Monthly is pointed down, and you're pointed down below 31.45. 2 week is also pointed down with volatility expansion now, and pointed down below 26.57. Looking like it's breaking down nicely, gonna go towards 16, 17 bucks. Weekly is also freshly pointed down with volatility expansion, pointed down below 27.44. 5 day also freshly pointed down with volatility expansion, pointed down below 25.57. 2 days also pointed down with volatility expansion, pointed down below 27.92, and you've got that silver cross down. Daily is currently flipped up above 22.01. And 4 hour is also flipped up above 21.08. So the high time frames on this thing are quite bearish. You're going to be flipped down firstly on the 6 month below 37.61. You also have kind of a head and shoulders right here, which is basically confirmed. And the quarterly is, however, is flipped to the upside. But it's looking like a bearish retest because you are getting volatility contraction. A monthly is also freshly flipped to the downside. 2 week is now getting volatility expansion with momentum flipping to the downside, losing all of your major moving averages. It's looking like on the low time frames, you are going to get a bearish retest with momentum flipping up on the low time frames to somewhere around that $23 to $26 area. Very, very likely that is going to reject though. And then from there, you are going to probably go pretty aggressively towards $16 or $17 for that gap fill, and then we'd have to reevaluate depending on how strong the buyback is there, if that's going to be our macro bottom or not.
Let me put it simply before you see it again. I saw this while you were showing that time frame. That was quite the bearish retest. And then doing another fucking head and shoulders. All righty, boys, you're done. You're done for today. 4 hours. Anything we want to look at before leaving, say, etc.? Because I see Bitcoin's pump. It's pumping along with Sol
doing
and
a little pump things.
Yeah,
really nothing for me. My 108.5 target for today is basically hit. So then now at that point, I'm just watching the daily close and looking to maybe position on the daily. I throw back. That's basically
what a pump, Mike. What a pump.
What?
What a pump, Mike.
All right, I'm gonna be completely honest. I have no idea what the fuck you just said, but
Hey, 6 hour on Bitcoin is a fresh silver cross.
Nice. So basically, what you're saying, Alex, is by the time we close, you're probably gonna send out a trade alert, right?
Yeah, exactly. On daily close out, I'm gonna send some trade alerts out.
I posted along for NASDAQ if anyone wants to take a look.
Look at you, huh? And also the longs for NASDAQ. Love it. Perfecto. Well, boys, enjoy the rest of your day. And let's see how this goes.
Cool.
I'm
I'll
gonna
see you
have
boys
some
later on the Discord.
quesadillas.
Thank you. Enjoy your quesadillas, motherfucker.
Quesadillas. señor.
Oh, quesabirrias. Enjoy.
Muchas gracias. Buenas
Hasta
tardes y
luego.
hasta
Buenas
luego,
tardes.
muchachos.
Pueden ver por acá, estamos viendo UNFI, que es United Natural Foods. Aparentemente la comida natural no tiene lugar en este campo, damas y caballeros. Y pueden ver también el por qué. Súper fácil colocar, entender esta tabla, volteándola a ver, así de sencillo. No tengo ni siquiera por qué poner estos objetivos por acá, pero se los voy a regalar para quien lo esté viendo acá. Bastante sencillo. Y líneas chonchas y grandes, correcto. Sería esto, esta, y ya, niveles. Pueden ver que esto en el 2009 tuvo un gran rally hasta el 2015 y de ahí cayó acá, y una vez que perdió esta tendencia alcista en la que estaba y la que básicamente estuvo desde que fue fundado en el 96, 2009 hasta justamente el 2018 vimos la caída, 2020 fue el fondo, 2022 extraño, porque 2022 fue el fondo, fue la parte más alta del mercado antes de la caída y esto debería ser mayo del 2024. Bien, ok. Mayo del 2024. Esto, una vez que se perdió esto, cayó. Está haciendo altos más bajos. Esta es una tabla bajista en todo tipo de temporalidad. 3 meses. 3 meses estás por debajo de todos tus promedios. El único que te queda por encima, por debajo, es el promedio del 9 en los 18.71. Pierdes los 18.71 y deberías de formar un nuevo mínimo o mínimo ir a testear estos mínimos que estás viendo acá. La cosa y lo que se me hace interesante también, tienes un cruce plateado a la baja, por supuesto, aquí atrás. Ahora, ese cruce plateado sigue activo, lo que me dice que el promedio del 9 sería una excelente oportunidad para hacerle un corto una vez que esté por debajo de, pero también ve la cantidad de ineficiencia en el movimiento, por lo que no va a ser nada fácil poder encontrar un lugar de salida para ese corto. Volatilidad está contrayendo después de esta gran expansión de volatilidad que nos llevó a dar este pompazo de vuelta. Mensual, estamos justamente perdiendo, tenemos una vela envolvente bajista. Una vela envolvente bajista es una vela que cubre toda la vela previa y hasta más, y lo hace justamente acá. Esta vela va a cerrar en 14 días y 3 horas, todavía le falta la mensual. De cerrar tal cual, nuestro siguiente objetivo, como siempre, es el 61.8% en los 19.80 y de cerrar por debajo de los 19.80, los 16.16. Y aquí es donde estaríamos buscando o un bajo más alto o un bajo más bajo. 2 semanas tienes expansión de volatilidad ante esta caída, lo puedes ver acá con esta línea acá tal cual. No sé por qué no se está sangrando a este gráfico, pero aquí lo tienes, justamente expansión de volatilidad por acá y sobre todo viendo en el de 2 semanas, justamente lo que está pasando en, ¿cómo se llama? En XRP es lo que estamos viendo por acá. Ve, donde venimos a retestear después de perder el SMA 200, vamos para arriba, pero en realidad esto fue un SFP, caímos y estaríamos esperando que ahora se haya volteado y que esto sea el SFP, pero parece ser que esto fue, y ahora estamos cayendo por debajo del SMA 200. También teníamos un cruce plateado a la alza justamente acá que se va a invalidar si continúa esta tendencia. Este cruce plateado a la baja, siempre y cuando el precio continúe por debajo de los 22, 23 dólares, sigue dando toda la cara de que va a dar continuación en esta bajada y sobre todo con la expansión de volatilidad que viene, no del punto más bajo, el 15% estaría acá, pero en esta volatilidad estando acá es suficiente para darnos un movimiento agresivo. Este movimiento agresivo podría ser para acá. Semanal, tenemos esa expansión de volatilidad también. Lo que estamos viendo en este momento con esta vela verde es una corrección, un rebote, y vamos a ver hasta dónde nos podría dar ese rebote. Por ahora, la tendencia a corto plazo en la semanal, desde febrero del 2025, es bajista. Alto, alto más bajo, bajos, bajos, bajos más bajos. Y ahora la zona de retesteo está entre los 24, los 23.33 y hasta el 25. Es más o menos lo que estamos viendo para este rebote. En la diaria tenemos volatilidad en extremos. Esta caída fue lo que nos dio y ahora estás viendo el reseteo. Volatilidad va a empezar probablemente a caer. Vamos a mantener un ojo acá, pero lo que tiene cara es que va a ser un rebote. Este rebote tiene ya un cruce plateado por acá, lo que nos dice que el promedio del 9 muy probablemente sea la zona importante de rechazo y el S&P 200 estando acá lo hace aún mejor. Esto quiere decir que vamos a probablemente hacer algo así, pum, tener un nuevo alto más bajo por acá y dar continuación a esta caída. Y si me echo para atrás, lo van a poder ver mejor. Sencillo con esto. Estás creando mínimos más bajos. Lo que yo estaría viendo acá es, si quiero entrar en un long para este rebote, que honestamente no te va a dar tanto, tu invalidación está en los 20.80, y para entrar en corto, básicamente acá la cosa es, en corto no tienes una invalidación hasta los 31, lo que lo hace bastante difícil. Por ahora, esto se ve bastante bajista, con un rebote ocurriendo y después dar continuación a la misma tendencia. En la de 2 semanas me gustó esa vista. La razón por qué es porque lo pone bastante sencillo. Te está dando la idea de que esto va a ser un bajo más alto, como lo hizo acá, ¿ok? Si llegas a cargarte este mínimo, o sea, esta línea, y vas para abajo, te vas a llevar este bajo y te vas a llevar este bajo. Y ahí es donde básicamente lo que viste en esto, lo veas otra vez acá, continuar otra vez, igualito, igualito, igualito. Y eso pues sería el fin de esta cosa. Es más, no vamos a ser tan agresivos, vamos a ponerlo ahí abajo. Ahí lo tienes. Esto es, ¿cómo se llama esta chingadera? UNFI, damas y caballeros, niñas y niños. Pues ahí lo tienen, de un color o de otro. Denme un segundito, ahorita pongo esto. Perfecto, nos está prendiendo mis 2 luces. Eres un hijo de puta, maldito monitor de mierda, pero bueno. Déjame, le pregunto a Farhan, mi queridísimo Ramón, dices que el stop loss del NASDAQ está mal, ahora mismo lo digo. Listo, ya le pregunté, ahora me contesta y te aviso en lo que cierro esto, mi estimado. Vamos a ver, aquí está mi otra luz, por fin. Ya lo agarré. ¿Qué más me falta? Siento que tengo todo por acá. Sí. Y entonces bien puesto. Ahí lo tienen, damas y caballeros. Con esto vamos a cerrar el casino del tío Salo. Ahora nos vamos a ver para una. Me preguntó, interesante lo que traigo hoy. Me encanta que les diga que es interesante de lo que les quiero hablar en un episodio de algo que se llama Nadie me preguntó. Es absolutamente muy interesante para nadie más que para mí. Y ahí lo tienen. Déjenme, me despido en inglés y ahora me vengo a despedir con ustedes. For everybody that's watching this on my English channel, Salamandrian, dude, this is what we do every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I do an opening that's like 10, 20 minutes in Spanish, and I think it's useless to put it on my English channel. So I just started with this. For those of you who want to trade, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. That's the beauty of it. And all of the shit that we advertise right here, it's absolutely free. And yeah, that's it. We just have a great time doing this shit. So if you want to join us, join us. Okay, I'll see you guys on the next one. Y para todos ustedes en español, ya estamos listos del otro lado. Quería compartir esto también en inglés, porque pues, estamos tradeando y la mitad de esto es en inglés. No veo por qué chingados no compartirlo ahí. Con eso dicho, manténganse pendientes. Vamos a estar, Alex va a estar pendiente del cierre de Bitcoin el día de hoy para mandarles más alertas a todos los miembros de las alertas. Farhan me acaba de comentar. Is the SL... No tengo, todavía no me contesta. Pero ahora que conteste, te aviso y lo cambiamos, mi estimado. No lo estoy viendo por acá. Les mando un fuerte abrazo a todos. Cuídense mucho. Nos vemos en un rato. Y para todos los elite traders, nos vemos el miércoles para seguir dándole. Pendientes a las alertas, que ahorita el mercado tiene cara que está dándonos toda esta volatilidad que estábamos buscando. Así que no se queden parados, por el amor de Dios. Fuerte abrazo. Cuídense. Graciela.